Tonight in Jackson, Mississippi, it's a tale of two tigers. Casey Terrio, the one they call the White Tiger, looks to keep Jackson State in the hunt for a Black College National Championship. Meanwhile, defending SWAC champ Texas Southern is out to prove that it's still the Shere Khan of the conference. You are watching ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by McDonald's. We are in Jackson, Mississippi, the capital of the state. And alongside the former Howard quarterback, Jay Walker, I'm Anish Shroff. Jay, you and I explored the city of Jackson a bit yesterday, talked to a lot of locals, and it seemed everywhere we went, the conversation went back to Jackson State's quarterback, Casey Terrio. One local described him as the Peyton Manning of the SWAC.
Yeah, and that's a great compliment. And that just tells you how Casey Terrio has really taken this football-crazed city by storm. He's a finalist for the Peyton Award. He threw for over 3,000 yards a season ago. Look for Casey to come out here on the national platform and establish himself as one of the premier quarterbacks in all of FCS football.
How he got to Jackson is a story in itself. We'll get into that during the course of the game. But for this Jackson State football team, the one thing they can't do, they can't play for a SWAC championship. They're ineligible to play in the title game, but there's another goal in mind for the squad.
And that's the Black College National Championship. And they stumbled last week by suffering a loss to a very good Alabama State team. They're looking to rebound and win the rest of their games on the schedule and try and cap off Casey's senior season with that national championship.
A tough test tonight, though, against Texas Southern. You look at the Texas Southern team. They don't have the offense that's as dynamic as Jackson State, but that's okay. Their calling card's been on defense.
And defense wins championships. And proof of the pudding is a season ago, Texas Southern won the SWAC with their defense. Their 2011 campaign is no different. This is the 212-degree defense. They like to put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They're the #1 defense in all of FCS football.
212 degrees, also the temperature at which water boils. So there's the logic behind the nickname of that defense. Jackson State has won the toss. They will receive. There's the head coach for the Jackson State Tigers, Rick Comagee, in his 6th season at Jackson State. Had a losing season in 09, but 8 wins last year, and they're on their way this year. And Kevin Ramsey, the interim coach for Texas Southern, took over in April after Johnny Cole was let go.
So I guess if you're a fan of Texas Southern, you're thinking, burn, baby, burn. They want to crank up that thermostat and get to 212 degrees in a hurry.
Wilbert Ortiz will kick off for Texas Southern. B.J. Lee and Joseph Perry back deep for Jackson State. And that's Perry. Across the 25, and he goes down right at the 25. And we get a first look at this Jackson State offense known as the air raid. They like to throw it. In fact, they threw it 67 times last week. And it's Casey Terrio, the preseason SWAC Player of the Year, the SWAC Newcomer of the Year last year, leading this Tiger offense.
And you see the 9 interceptions on the year. Keep in mind, a week ago, he threw 6 interceptions versus Alabama State. You go back, you look at the film, only 3 of those are truly his fault. The other 3 were tip balls, but he's out for redemption tonight.
Terrio throws on first down, and a completion along that far sideline to Marcellus Wilder. And Marcellus Wilder happens to be our impact player, coming off a big game, 10 catches, close to 150 yards, 2 scores in the loss to Alabama State.
Yeah, the 6'3" senior from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, has established himself as Casey Terrio's go-to wide receiver.
13 yards and a first down on the first play of the game for Casey Terrio and Jackson State. Empty backfield. Here comes the pressure. Quick throw, and that's to B.J. Lee. It's going to be a loss of 6 yards on the play. On the flip side, looking at impact players for Texas Southern, how about Marquise Jackson?
Go get it. That's how they describe him. He's the type of defensive lineman that likes to go get after the quarterback. Look for him to try and cause havoc in the backfield all season long. He actually committed out of high school to the University of Southern California. Texas Southern was able to get him, and they've got a good one.
Texas Southern, one of the best D-lines in all the FCS. Terrio under center for the first time. Keep it on the ground. This is Lee. And a flag goes flying as Lee gets to about the 39-yard line. Got 5 yards on the play, but there is a flag.
Offside. On the defense, number 56. Penalty. Replay. Second down.
So offsides on Texas Southern, and that almost wipes out that -6 on first down.
And that's the type of leadership from Casey Terrio right there. You lose yardage on the first down, while on second down, come out, try and gain a quick 5 yards using a voice inflection.
2 tight ends in the game for Jackson State. Play action. Terrio on the run, wide open over the middle. Renty Rollins is tight end, and Rollins gets close to the 35-yard line of Texas Southern. A gain of 26 yards on the play. Finally brought down by Darvion Trahan.
Yeah, great job here. They're going to have the play action. Watch the tight end sneak to the second level. 2-level throw. They're covered on the first level. You're going to see the second level tight end come wide open, coming across the formation. Great recognition. See how he threw the ball in stride, let the receiver get extra yards after catch.
Terrio to the air again, and that time he overshot his intended receiver, looking for Rollins again, second down. Tommy Gooden checking into the game for Jackson State. He'll be in a tailback, spelling B.J. Lee. Offset eye here on second down. This is Gooden, finds a seam and gets across the 35 to the 34. Met by Adrian Bennett, gain of 3 yards. First third down coming up for Jackson State.
One of the things that Jackson State has the ability to do is play power football with the running game. We saw them in practice. We've seen them on film. When they line up Terrio underneath the center, they can run the football with the power running game, but they've got such a talented quarterback that their preference, I believe, is to throw the football around.
Their offense is called the air raid. Jackson State needs the 26-yard line for a first down. Here's the pressure. Terrio off his back foot, and he just throws it away. So fourth down coming up. And a decision here for Rick Comagee.
Take a look at the blitz that's going to come. You're going to see William Parker come in from that middle linebacker spot, pressure right up the middle of the field. And once that happens, you've got no choice but to get rid of the football. Good decision not to take the sack and to get rid of the football.
So Rick Comagee, we saw them kicking yesterday, and their field goal kicker, Jabril Smith, really struggled from 40, 45 yards. So they brought the punter on, Chris Salita. They were looking at about a 50-yard field goal. Why not go for it, Jay?
I think we kind of saw their kicking woes a little bit yesterday in practice on the deep ones.
High kick by Salita. It's going to bounce in the end zone. So a touchback, a 33-yard punt. Jackson State comes up empty on its first drive. We see Texas Southern on offense when we come back.
Provocative. Unexpected.
This is Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal.
ESPNU's college football primetime is presented by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And in part by Fidelity Investments. Turn here. It is tailgate week, and they know how to tailgate here in the South in Jackson, Mississippi. Scoreless first quarter, Jackson State and Texas Southern. Jackson State punted with the ball at the Texas Southern 33-yard line. It went into the end zone, so Texas Southern starts at the 20, really just 13 yards lost. Why not go for it, Jay?
I mean, in second-guessing yourself, you say, yes, they should have if you're going to gain that. Now, would they have loved to have had them pinned? Then we wouldn't be talking about it, but it didn't pay off for them.
Texas Southern keeps it on the ground on first down, and it's 4 yards for the senior Marcus Wright. And there's Rico Smalls, the quarterback for Texas Southern. We saw his first start, which was in the SWAC championship a year ago. Now he's the guy, but you see the completion percentage under 50. This team, though, they don't rely on him for success offensively. It's the ground game.
And to make it simple, he's going to beat you with his legs before he beats you with his arm.
This is Marcus Wright again on second down, and he gets 3 more. It'll bring up third down. Milton Patterson on the stop, and Marcus Wright, who carried the ball on first and second down, our impact player for the Texas Southern Tigers.
Yeah, the senior from Dayton, Ohio, is just a really good running back. Hard-nosed style of play, low center of gravity. He's a guy that can beat you not only running the football, but also getting the ball out the backfield.
Meanwhile, for Jackson State, their impact player on the defensive side, Donovan Robinson, a guy coaches say has NFL potential and is one of the fastest players on the team.
Yeah, how often do we talk about a defensive lineman possibly being one of the fastest guys on the team? That's unheard of. That tells you what type of freak of nature he really is.
On third down, play action. Small steps up, throws. He's got Joe Anderson, and Anderson bumped out of bounds near the 40-yard line. 11 yards and a first down.
Well, if you've got a quarterback that can beat you with his arms first, then look for him to try to prolong the play there. And you're going to see Smalls do a good job here, looking downfield, getting out the pocket. Wide open Joe Anderson. That's an easy throw right there to pick up the first down. That's how you use your mobile legs if you're a mobile quarterback.
Smalls will throw again.
Look
Has
out.
time, and no, he won't. Taken down by Joseph LeBeau. That's his 7th sack of the season, this in Jackson State's 5th game.
And this is one of those sacks where give credit to the coverage downfield, but once you realize you have nowhere to go, get rid of the football. You're not going to make a defensive lineman miss that's got so much pressure on you. Nowhere to go with the football. Look at all the blue jerseys around the white jersey. You got to throw that ball out of bounds. Can't afford to take that sack.
A loss of 11 on the sack, so it becomes 2nd and 21.
And LeBeau and Robinson, these are stand-up defensive end. So you see them here standing up on the end line of the scrimmage. They're guys that don't like to get in a three-point stance. They like to read the coverage from a standing-up position. That's kind of a tradition of a Rick Comegy coach defense.
Texas Southern going on the ground there on 2nd down, and only a yard, so it'll bring up 3rd and 20. Yeah, Rick Comedy's defense, it's interesting. You mentioned the standing defensive lineman. It's not really a traditional 4-3. It's a varied defense where they don't substitute a lot.
No, they keep the personnel, and their base defense is a 4-2-5 type of look. 4 linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs.
Here's the pressure. Smalls trying to elude the pursuit, and he is taken down well shy of a first down. It was Luis McLeod on the snap, 4 yards, and 4th down coming up for Texas Southern.
And they're just sending bodies at the pockets. They're going to bring some outside linebackers, and Mike Hill coming from his outside linebacker spot. And all they're trying to do is collapse the pocket, not allow Smalls to get comfortable, force him to tuck the ball and run.
T.D. Davis back deep for Jackson State. Francois Ejiofor on to punt. High kick, not a lot of distance on it, and it takes a sideways bounce, and Texas Southern will down it at about the 34-yard line. A 32-yard punt. When we come back, we'll tell you about Casey Terrio's odyssey. Really an amazing story how he ended up in Jackson, Mississippi.
Sister's new boyfriend told her.
Welcome back to Jackson, Mississippi. Let's not dance around the obvious. A lot of folks out there probably wondering, how does Jackson State, a historically black college, have a white quarterback? Well, Casey Terrio started at a junior college in California in the fall of '07. In January of '08, he was involved in a bar fight in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He was punched by one of the patrons at the bar, one Jonathan Krystiniak. Terrio then punched Krystiniak, then fled the scene, but others were there, and they were stomping and kicking Krystiniak, who died from cerebral hemorrhage a couple of weeks later and acute alcohol poisoning. Terrio took a plea deal, served 6 months in prison. Then he re-enrolled at another community college in Grand Rapids that led them to a junior college bowl game, and then was trying to get back into the ranks of the NCAA, had some interest from Division I FBS, eventually came to Jackson State. A lot of those bigger schools, BCS programs, were turned off, and last year on the field certainly made a tremendous impact on this Jackson State program, taking them from 3 wins in 2009 to 8 wins last year, and was the SWAC newcomer.
And raised the expectations for the 2011 campaign. They expect to win most of their games. And what a great job of taking advantage of a second chance by Casey Terrio.
And a fumble on first down by Raheem Sims. Texas Southern saying they've got it. And they do. Darvion Trahan falling on it for the Texas Southern Tigers.
And so often you'll see the running backs fumble the ball trying to get that extra yard going down, and you can see the ball clearly pops out before he gets to the ground. That's a fumble, and it seems like the turnover bug that bit this Jackson State offense a week ago is still continuing to bite them.
And to go back to Terrio, we had some time to talk to him earlier today, and he seemed like a man who was very much at ease with not so much what happened, but at ease with the fact that he can't change the past, and it's on him now to build his future going forward. This is Marcus Wright on first down. Nice move, and he gets across the 30-yard line, gain of 6 yards. It'll bring up 2nd and 4. Now that turnover by Jackson State, it's been part of a troublesome trend for Rick Comegee. 7 turnovers last week, 5 the week before, 5 the week before that. In fact, 17 turnovers in the previous 3 games, yet they won 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I mean, they got away with it. They realized they were lucky, but this is something that they must address if they want to continue to win football games this season. A good team's going to hurt you if you turn over the football, and they faced a good team in Alabama State last week, and Alabama State snuck out of Jackson with the victory.
That's Michael Griggs picking up 3. He's close to a first down. It'll bring up 3rd down, and let's call it 2. There's Rick Comegee. Turnovers, they hurt last week, although most of the turnovers were on the other end of the field when Jackson State was about to score. This time it was on the wrong end, and Texas Southern trying to take advantage. Another run. This is Wright, and he looks to be stopped short of the first down. So 4th down coming up. Luis McLeod and Todd Wilcher on the stop.
What a great job by this Jackson State defense of sniffing out the run, reading their keys, and beating the Texas Southern offensive line to the hole. You know, we talked about the game plan for Texas Southern was going to be to run the football, power run, and power run. 3rd and 2, they could not power run against this Jackson State defense.
On 4th and 1, it looks like Texas Southern's going to go for it. 6 for 12 on 4th down through 3 games this season. Out of the eye. First down.
Follow the fullback, and you'll normally find where the ball's going. Good lead blocker there. Great job of running by Marcus Wright. Just getting there, lowering the shoulder pass, following a great lead block there by his fullback, Randall Newsom. That's power football.
Wright, the senior, had 148 yards in a win against Jackson State last year. He gets it again, and he runs into a stone wall at the 19-yard line. Luis McLeod, the first to meet him. And there's a flag now on the back end of the play.
Defense. Half the distance to the goal.
Well, Luis McLeod took him down, but apparently he got too much face mask, so half the distance to the goal. And Texas Southern now into the red zone, and they're set up.
See McLeod, number 50, yeah, just reaches out there and yanks him around there. Very dangerous, easy to call right there. Never let go. That's the part that's got to concern you. If you grasp it sometimes and let go of it real quick and release it, they can't see it.
In the red zone, brought to you by Verizon. Taking a look at how Texas Southern has done in the red zone this season. That's brought to you by Verizon. And Martin Gilbert with nowhere to go, lost 2 yards. So 2nd down coming up. Milton Patterson, the middle linebacker, got him in the backfield.
You talk about taking your time and shooting the gap. This is what you call a football instinct. You're going to see Milton Patterson, number 9, just go between the guard and that tackle and chase down that play there. If you're a quarterback, you've got to change that snap count, slow them down. Anytime you see those linebackers start gaining that much momentum towards the line of scrimmage, a slight pause in your snap count can get them to back up for a step or 2.
2nd and goal. Smalls will go to the air. He wants Joe Anderson. And it's over the head of his intended target. Good coverage by Quay Cox.
Yeah, Joe Anderson's the senior wide receiver from Texarkana, Arkansas. They saw the one-on-one matchup with Anderson going against the safety, Tim Dandridge. They tried to go for the fade route. Pardon me, that was Cox on defense, and they went for the one-on-one matchup, but the ball was thrown out of bounds.
So 3rd and goal now. Texas Southern 9 for 16 in the red zone this season. All 9 times they've scored, it's been a touchdown. Crowd getting into it a bit. And somebody jumped. They got Kenneth Hall jumping, the sophomore from Plainfield, New Jersey. This is a rebuilt offensive line for Texas Southern. Just one returning starter, and that's the center, Quinn Chris. So 3rd and goal now. About the 16.
Man-to-man coverage across the board. Jackson State is daring Texas Southern throw the football.
They will throw. There's pressure. Smalls gonna have to get rid of it. He'll tuck it and run. Now throws for the end zone and incomplete. They wanted Richard Samuel. Good defense there by Jackson State. Even as that play prolonged, no breakdowns in coverage.
And what you have to know as a quarterback, if they're playing man-to-man coverage, they're probably going to blitz and bring pressure, and Jackson State does, and they get to the quarterback. Great athletic move to make a miss, but look at the secondary, just staying by their coverage. Man-to-man receiver, covered, nowhere to go with the football. That's a good team concept defense there.
So Wilbert Ortiz will come on for a field goal attempt. It's a 33-yarder. He's just 0 for 1 on the season, only 1 attempt.
He was a walk-on. He's only been with this football program for 2 weeks. They had to search the campus to find a kicker.
And looks like a delay of game call on Texas Southern. So now that 33-yard attempt becomes a 38-yard attempt should Kevin Ramsey still decide to kick.
And you talked about their red zone percentage earlier. 9 of 16 in the red zone, 9 touchdowns. They didn't have a kicker. So they went out there and actually found a kicker that can go for it. And they said he's going to be a good one, but he's just now learning how to kick.
So on 4th and goal, it looks like they're going to go for it. They don't want to take that chance from 38 yards.
What a difference. Jackson State had the ball, 4th and 3. They choose to go for the punt. Now you get Texas Southern coming here on the road, 4th and goal, and they're going for it.
5 wide. Smalls has time. Over the middle, it's complete, but shy of the goal line. Richard Samuel short of the end zone. Richard Hughes making the stop. So it's almost like a punt in a sense, where now Jackson State will start inside its own 5.
Yeah, better than a punt and a missed field goal. You got the completion now. You've got Jackson State pinned within their own 5-yard line, so they're going to have to go 96 yards in order to score a touchdown on you. I think that play right there, although they did not get the touchdown, hey, the percentages in their favor paid off for them.
When we come back, we'll ask you, who's the greatest to ever play in the SWAC? Is it Sweetness? With Jay Walker and Ace Schroff here at Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium. Scoreless with less than 5 minutes to play in the first quarter. We asked you on Twitter, who's the greatest SWAC player of all time? Tweet your thoughts. Let us know what you think and follow us on twitter.com/ESPNU. Certainly there are names on that list that are known to more than just fans of black college football. Walter Payton, Jerry Rice.
Well, you know, we talked
Steve
off
McNair.
camera. We said if you're really a legend in the SWAC, you're known on by first name basis. Right. Steve, Doug Lim,
Williams, sure.
Lim Barney, Walter Payton. So there's
Jerry.
And Jerry. Whew. I want to see what the fans say.
Tommy Gooden on first down, and he is stopped perilously close to the goal line. A loss of 2 yards. Some other notable SWAC greats beyond Jerry Rice and Walter Payton. John Stallworth, great wide receiver for the Steelers, played at Alabama A&M, and hey, Texas Southern's very own Michael Strahan.
Michael Strahan, yes, and Mel Blount played
Mel
for
Blount.
all those years for the Steel Curtain, and Aaron McNair, of course, as he was known in the SWAC. Been some great ones that have come out this conference.
Casey Terrio was terrific a year ago, the quarterback for Jackson State, but now second down and long, ball at the 2-yard line. Quick out, and it's incomplete. Intended target, Marcellus Wilder. So 3rd and 12 from the 2-yard line.
A miscommunication there. Wilder was going downfield to block. Must have missed a check at the line of scrimmage from Terrio when he was trying to call his number, give him a wide receiver screen.
Terrio completed his first 3 passes, but he's missed on his last 3. And we saw Texas Southern in the SWAC championship game last year, and when they have the other team at this part of the field, they smell blood.
Yes, and that's what you want when you've got a defense that wins you championship. If you've got a defense that can put points on the board for you, hey, that's what you do. You let them go out there and control the possession and ball control.
On 3rd down, Terrio throws incomplete, and it'll be 4th down coming up. Jackson State is going to have to punt from its own end zone.
I think it should be noted last year Casey Terrio really struggled against this Texas Southern defense as well, and you saw the pressure there being applied by the outside linebacker Samuel Gordy, number 43, and he came from 5 yards outside of the tackle box. So they're going to bring pressure, and I think Terrio's having difficulty recognizing where's the blitz coming from.
Terrio didn't have many bad games last year, but against Texas Southern a year ago, you mentioned it, 18 for 41. Chris Salita on to punt, and there's a flag before the play.
Five-yard penalty.
Substitution and flag defense.
Illegal substitution on Texas Southern, so that gives Jackson State a bit of breathing room. There were 12 men on the field.
Yeah, that's something that you can't do. You've got a team backed up, and you need 15 yards to punt a football. They had the ball on the 3-yard line, so they were going to have to rush it with 13 yards to punt. Now they give them a little bit more breathing room, better opportunity to get this punt off.
Joe Anderson, the return man, waiting for it at the 45-yard line of Jackson State. And a short kick bounces at the 39, and Anderson watches it go out of bounds near the 45-yard line. ESPNU's coverage of college football continues Saturday at noon Eastern. Joe Pa and the Nittany Lions take on the Indiana Hoosiers. Then at 3:30 Eastern, it's Bethune-Cookman out of the MEAC taking on Ja'Cory Harris and the Miami Hurricanes. College football, all a part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal on ESPNU this Saturday. Joe Paterno already has the FBS record for career wins, 404, and he's getting close to Eddie Robinson, longtime coach at Grambling. Eddie Robinson, 408. A run on first down here for Texas Southern. It's 3 yards for Marcus Wright. It's a pretty good list, isn't it?
It is, and Joe Paul climbing. And I remember when Bobby Bowden retired, he was only leading Coach Bowden by 14 victories now.
And Bowden, remember, had to vacate some of those wins as well.
Yeah, now that number's growing, and Joe Paul keeping to get it going. You know,
think about this with Joe Pa. Remember a few years ago they had an offense called Spread HD with Darryl Clark running it. Put it in perspective, when Joe Paterno was born, forget television, they didn't even have sliced bread. And I'm not making that up.
Come on, sliced bread.
He was born before sliced bread. Loafs only. Here's Smalls. Flag on the play. Smalls still on his feet. He's got a first down if the play stands, but there is a flag.
That's coming back there, but you can tell.
Replay, second down.
They got the freshman Kendrick Williams, number 74.
You'll see that right there on the edge there, the speed rush holding the jersey of Donovan, bringing pressure around the outside, Donovan Robinson. But Smalls, you can tell, he's going to beat you with his legs first. He was able to elude the pressure, and had there not been a hold, would have taken a bad play and turned into a big play for this Texas Southern offense. That's something that Jackson State's going to have to work on defensively. How do they keep Smalls in the pocket where he's not as comfortable as he is compared to running the ball on the perimeter?
Only one penalty for Jackson State, 4 already for Texas Southern. 2nd and long. Small steps up, throws. He's got Anderson, and Anderson gets back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll bring up 3rd and 10.
And I'm surprised that Jackson State is continuing to play man-to-man coverage versus Joe Anderson.
Let's remember something about Texas Southern's offense. They had a new coaching staff, not really a new coaching staff, but Charles Coe, the offensive coordinator, was brought in. He didn't have spring practice to put in his offense. Kevin Ramsey, the defensive coordinator, was promoted to interim head coach only in April. So this offense, as Coach Coe told us, still very much a work in progress.
They're still learning. As long as you play one-on-one man-to-man coverage, it'll be pretty easy to learn that type of offense. I think you're Jackson State, you've got to bring some confusion to them.
Texas Southern needs the 35 for a first down. Smalls, tuck it and run, and he looks to have the first down. Rico Smalls again. A gain of 13 yards, first down, Tigers.
This play is proof why defensive coordinators hate mobile quarterbacks. This is a blown play. He's going over to his far right. Great spin move out here. Nobody's out here for this area. Look at the athleticism to outrun the linebackers. There was nothing there with the play. Turned on the Jets, picked up the first down. That's something where you game plan against a guy. We know the play, they snip it out, but he still beats you with his legs.
Coach has told us Smalls, one of his best assets is his escapability. We've seen that a few times tonight. Gilbert on first down dives across the 30 to about the 28-yard line, 4 yards on the play.
After they pick up the first down, you see the Texas Southern's in no rush. You know, today's college football, everybody wants to have the hurry-up offense, run as many plays as possible. Well, they want balance. They want to be able to run the football. Even if Jackson State brings 8 defenders in the box, they plan on still trying to run the football, and then they'll milk the clock. And I think they're thinking a good defense for Casey Terrio is keeping him on the sideline.
Good old-fashioned smash mouth football. Ball control. On the ground again. That time Gilbert met immediately. Todd Wilcher. He sort of plays that hybrid linebacker safety position in the 4-2-5 coming up to make the play.
We mentioned they were going to keep 8 men around the box, and Texas Southern was going to run the ball even if they saw a loaded box. Wilcher's coming down from that safety position to make it an 8-man box, and he really made the running back pay on that play.
Jackson State, look what they've done on the ground defensively, holding teams under 57 yards. That's tops in the FCS. Third down.
8 men on the line of scrimmage for Jackson State.
Smalls rolling out, throws, and it's broken up. Good defense intended for Kirk Fitzhugh. And that takes us to the end of the first quarter. Both teams have had scoring chances, but no points on the board. We're scoreless here in Jackson, Mississippi. A SWAC battle between Texas Southern and Jackson State.
The Palmer and Pollock Show, Mondays at 1 and 9 on ESPNU.
When it comes to saving energy, we're off to a good start. But now it's time to go to the next level. So let's do a little.
Start of the second quarter, we're scoreless. It's 4th down and 6 for Texas Southern. Instead of going for a 45-yard field goal, Kevin Ramsey electing to go for it. So it'll be the 3rd 4th down attempt for Texas Southern in this game. 1 for 2 so far. And earlier, They were looking at about a 38-yard field goal attempt, decided to go for it, so no surprise here.
And during that time, it was 4th and goal from the 23-yard line, so you got 4th and less than 6. They decided, hey, we should go for it.
Empty backfield. Smalls pumps, throws into coverage, and it's broken up. Richard Hughes and Quay Cox in on coverage. Turnover on downs.
Great job by Quay Cox. Watch him right here. He's the cornerback. He's going to recognize the corner route coming here. Watch him drop off of his man and get in the coverage to deflect that ball. That's great recognition. He sees it, the ball's going there, get back in the secondary to make the deflection to stop the Tigers of Texas Southern from getting the first down. Good job.
When you say Tigers in the SWAC, you got to be careful. There's 3 of them. Texas Southern, Jackson State, and let's not forget Grambling.
And then you've got Southern University. They are Jaguars. They're not quite Tigers, but they're from the same cat family.
Prairie View A&M, the Panthers. Casey Terrio going deep.
Open.
Wide open. Renty Rollins, and he's taken down at the 30-yard line, a 42-yard play. If not for Adrian Bennett, that could have been much, much more.
Yeah, they had the double move down here with the slant and go, but he ends up going to the tight end. It's going to find the soft spot there. The defense doesn't get there. They've got pressure. He makes a miss. He eludes, looks downfield. You've got the tight end running down the field all by himself in Renty Rollins.
And that was a touchdown-saving tackle by Bennett, the redshirt freshman out of Houston, Texas. On the ground, that's Tommy Gooden. Goodbye, Tommy Gooden. 6-0 Jackson State.
Good job there. Great lead block there in the hole. And then he makes the safety miss on the poor angle pursuit by Adrian Bennett, number 2 in white. And you see the Jets come in there as Tommy Gooden takes it to the house. This is an emerging young backup running back for Jackson State, who the coaching staff said he's going to be a good one, just a sophomore.
Jabril Smith on for the point after, and his kick is blocked. Jay, you called this in practice yesterday. You said the way he was kicking in practice yesterday, he's going to get a kick blocked.
Yeah, low trajectory there. You've got to get this ball airborne. An extra point is just getting the ball upright. But look how low that ball is there. You had 2 Texas Southern people there that had their hands up. They scouted out and said, if we get our hands up, we can block the kick, and it paid off for them.
You called that in practice yesterday. You said it would happen. But Tommy Gooden, nonetheless, getting Jackson State on the board with a 30-yard touchdown run.
I'm your biggest fan, you know that.
Oh, you're the best, Mr. Snuggles.
Another pet name?
You're right, Puggle Wuggle. Hey, Wiggly.
All right, I'm smart enough to notice that my favorite fresh brewed Mickey D's sweet tea is now.
Tommy Gooden's 30-yard touchdown run, the first points of the game. 6-0 Jackson State, leading Texas Southern with 14:30 to go in the half.
Now let's go back and see how that touchdown run by Tommy Gooden. This is how you draw up man-to-man football. You're going to get a kick-out block here, a kick-out block here, and then meeting in the hole, mano-a-mano, is going to be Marquise Dunn versus William Parker. You can tell who won that battle right there. Springing Tommy Gooden to the end zone. Great block by Marquise Dunn.
And once Gooden gets speed, that's all he needs. He's a track star, works well in space, and there's Dunn, the big fullback. That's how you get camera time. Pancake block. The point after, though, was blocked, so that's why it's 6-0. That touchdown was the first time that Texas Southern allowed a point in the first 3 quarters in any of its last 2 games. Michael Holmes flubs the kickoff, recovers, still manages to get across the 20-yard line to the 23, and that's where Texas Southern will start. Be sure to join us every Monday for the Palmer and Pollock Show on ESPNU at 1 and 9 Eastern. Jesse Palmer and David Pollock look at the past week's action and set the scene for the upcoming week's big games. Strap yourself in for an entertaining and opinionated 3-hour college football forum. College football lives here every day on ESPNU. Texas Southern will start inside its own 25. They started their last 2 drives in Jackson State territory, but didn't get any points. They've had opportunities.
You know, when you're without a kicker that you have confidence in, you really put a lot of pressure on your offense, telling them they've got to go out and score touchdowns every drive.
And a flag. So false start on the offense, 5th penalty against Texas Southern.
And that's one of those statistics. I guarantee if you take a look at teams that go on the road and win big games, they don't go in there and get heavily penalized. You start having yellow flags dropped on you all day, you make already a tough job even that much tougher.
Play action here on first down. Smalls in trouble, trying to reverse field, and he throws it away. It was in the direction of number 1, Joe Anderson.
And you talk about
Joseph LeBeau, by the way, applying the pressure.
Yeah, those stand-up defensive ends for Jackson State continuing to pressure the pocket. You can call bootlegs on them, but because they're in a stand-up position, they see everything that's coming, so you're rarely going to catch them out of position.
What's the downside to having a stand-up D lineman?
Well, you should be able to attack them because of the leverage level, the shoulder pad level. You should be able to get underneath their shoulder pads and drive them off the ball. But I think what Texas Southern's doing is they're struggling getting to those guys. See them right here at the end of the line of scrimmage. Those stand-up linebackers not giving up anything outside.
Marcus Wright gets close to the 25-yard line. Gain of 6 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and 9. We were talking about this at practice yesterday. Rick Comegy, the head coach for Jackson State, when he coached at Tuskegee, he had a very unique way of positioning his D linemen. It was more than 2 guys standing up.
Yeah, all 4 linemen used to stand up, and they would stand 2.5 yards off the football. And you figure you've got linemen standing up off the football, just drive block at them. And I told him it didn't make sense on paper and when you saw it, but year in and year out, they always led Division II football in rushing defense.
And another whistle. Timeout Texas Southern with 13:34 to go here in the half. First timeout of the half used by those Tigers. They're down 6-0. It'll be 3rd down for Rico Smalls and company when we come back. You're watching college football SWAC action here on ESPNU. ESPNU College Football Primetime is brought to you by Acura. Acura Advance. And by Russell Athletic, who remind you that together we are. 3rd and 9 for Texas Southern. They're in their own zone at the 24-yard line. They trail 6-0. And Texas Southern just 2 for 6 on 3rd down so far. Kevin Ramsey has watched his offense have chances. They've been on Jackson State's end of the field a couple times, have not been able to capitalize. And on the flip side, Jake, Jackson State's offense gets all the accolades. Their defense has been pretty stout so far.
They're very active, very athletic. I mean, this is a defense that's got 3 legitimate NFL prospects, so you know they're not going to be a pushover, and they're rising to the occasion tonight.
Smalls on 3rd and 9 under pressure, and he throws it, and it's caught by Deshaun Daniels out of the backfield. Hey, let's see where they spot it. This could be a little closer than maybe anticipated.
Now, this should be a penalty. This should be a legal man downfield, because when you throw a screen ball, you got to catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage. He caught that ball 2 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage. See, the linemen, they're going on the line of scrimmage. He makes that catch. Whew, they missed that one there.
It's spotted about a yard short of the 1st down marker, so the punting unit comes on, and Francois Ejiofor in trouble. Somehow gets rid of it. It takes a bounce near midfield, and it'll be downed at the 48-yard line. So terrific starting field position for Jackson State. It's a 19-yard punt. Saturday morning, ESPNU previews a full day of college football at 9 a.m. Eastern. Join Aaron Andrews and David Pollack for College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Then at 10 a.m. Eastern, catch a special college football version of Sports Nation. At 11, it's The Whip, the show that gets the latest from all the game sites just prior to kickoff. College football lives on ESPNU.
All eyes on Madison, Wisconsin this weekend.
Nebraska and Whiskey. First Big Ten game for the Huskers, and Wisconsin has looked terrific through September, but The one question is, who have they played?
Yeah, well, I thought that the dark horse for winning the Heisman Trophy was Russell Wilson. He's got an opportunity to go ahead and jump into the lead of the Heisman race if he has a good performance against the Badgers. I'm sorry, versus the Cornhuskers.
Timeout Jackson State with 12:49 to go in the half, their first of the half. Let's revisit our social media question, shall we? We asked you on Twitter, who's the greatest player in SWAC history? Ooh. Walter Payton, greatest on and off the field, and then another one said it would have to be Jerry Rice.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one there. They're both very good. You talk about Walter Payton and his legacy. I mean, it's not by coincidence that the Payton Award is named after Walter Payton. You see him there cutting up a Grambling Tiger defense for the Eddie Robinson coach team there. What a gentleman. I like the comment. On and off the field, Walter Payton got it done.
And then Mississippi Valley State's very own, the incomparable Jerry Rice. Didn't wear it number 80 in college. Number 88.
88, part of that Satellite Express, with he and Willie Titan just shattered every passing receiving record known to mankind. And he also did that in the NFL as well.
Some of his NFL records are going to be very, very difficult to break. He's got almost all the major receiving ones. There's Casey Terrio going long on first down, and it's incomplete. Wanted the middle of the field, but nobody there.
And you know what's ironic about the comparison between Peyton and you talk about Jerry Rice? You know, I've really thought that Jerry Rice is the best football player I've ever seen. But when you talk to those people, talk about Walter Payton.
And you played against him in the NFL.
Yes, I did. And you talk about Walter Payton, people say he was the greatest that ever played. So what does that say about the conference? They just don't have these little one-hit wonders. These are great football players.
Peyton, of course, in the news recently. Controversial new biography that's coming out. Terrio off his back foot, completes. First down, B.J. Lee, and Lee scampers out of bounds, and a flag comes in at the end of the play. 16 yards.
On the reception, there's a marker on the play.
And this is coming back. Rico Richardson called for holding.
Yeah, you see that? That's a block in the back.
That's easy. Official standing right there.
For that yard, maybe 2 yards, you just don't need it. But you see there, that's the philosophy of this Jackson State offense. Look downfield. If it's not there, they've got built-in checkdowns underneath. And so you focus on the vertical passing game, then all of a sudden the horizontal game underneath turns into big plays for you.
So second down. Again to the air. Terrio, plenty of time. Throws on the run. And it's caught in the end zone. Touchdown, Marcellus Wilder. A 46-yard touchdown from Terrio to Wilder. He threw it up in double coverage. And Wilder, 6'3", 195, came down with it.
Well, I think this is Terrio just letting his wide receiver go up and make a play. Eyes downfield the whole time, looks, sees somebody deep, can't completely step into the throw, but Wilder does a good job of coming over, making the readjustment, and catching the ball at its highest point.
He had Adrian Bennett and Darvion Trahan all over him. Those are two pretty big DBs, 6'2", 6'4", and Wilder still coming down with it. Point after this time is good, and Jackson State has a 2-score lead. 13-0, Terrio to Wilder. You can hear the fireworks in Mississippi. In general, get a lot of recognition these days, though.
Yeah, I guess you can always fall back and say it's a basketball conference. But,
that might be changing as well.
Yeah, they've really improved their football, competition on the field.
Richard Samuel from his own 4. Stops, changes direction, and he's gobbled up at the 15. Hey, we're talking about Notre Dame just a few moments ago. That's Rudy from the movie. The original Rudy Rudiger. He actually addressed the Jackson State team early this morning. You and I sat in on that, and we talked to Casey Terrio about that afterwards, and Casey Terrio was saying that a lot of what Rudy was saying, it hit home for him, even though he had never seen the movie, because it was about dealing with adversity, about continuing to strive, continuing to seek, continuing to fight for that opportunity and persevere. And that was sort of the message that he sent out, is if you persevere long enough, good things will come.
And I think, you know, also you can't change the past. You got to just move forward.
Speaking of moving forward, there's Joe Anderson, and he gets a first down, 15 yards.
Now, the last thing on Rudy's speech to the team, your favorite line from it all.
I thought it was hysterical. He was going around the room, and he calls out Casey Terrio. I tweeted about this earlier, and about half his teammates lost it, and he looks at Casey and goes, "How did you end up here?"
He said, basically, you're a white quarterback at a historically black college. How did you end up here? And his teammates got a big laugh out of it.
They got a big laugh out of it. And so did Casey.
Yeah, you know.
They've got a lot of nicknames for him. The Blue-Eyed Soul Brother, White Tiger. Right. Couldn't find room on his first try, and then just went around the other way, and he's got a first down across the 45. Quay Cox finally made the stop, but not before 17 yards.
A good run by Marcus Wright. You teach running backs, run the color. You see nothing but green on the outside, go to it. All the blue jerseys form to one side, run away from them. Great job of bouncing. You see the line just kind of slide down to the left side. He does a good job of looking to the outside, seeing this green on the outside, going and picking up positive yardage. That's a great vision by Marcus Wright.
Rudy would have been proud.
Did you notice when they introduced Rudy before the crowd?
Yeah, they started chanting.
They started chanting Rudy. How many times has he heard that before in his life?
He also made sure to mention that he did make the tackle. That's a controversial point for many. There's Wright on first down, and he gets 2 yards. Texas Southern inching closer to midfield.
And this is a good response by Texas Southern. You're on the road. You're playing in a pretty hostile environment here in Jackson, Mississippi. You're down 13-0. You need your offense to try and help out your defense. Get a scoring drive together. Try and respond. Because so often teams go on the road, they fall down early, and then the crowd just gains momentum, and they can never recover.
That was a big surprise. Jackson State usually very stout at home. They lost here last week. But that's a rarity for this team. Smalls is slung down in the backfield. It's big Jonathan Billups.
Billups got the sack, but it was pressure brought from the outside. Take a look right here. Watch him just beat his man off the ball. Those two stand-up defensive ends we're talking about, LeBeau, he's got the mismatch. Lowers his shoulder, he's got to lead. And once you force everybody to go inside, the big guy Billups is standing on the inside.
That was a wrestling move. Look at the way he took him down.
I'm sorry, that's Donovan Robinson there getting that pressure there. He's been very active. We talked about the speed there. And right now, the tackles for Texas Southern are really struggling with the perimeter pass rush.
Well, think about the space that Jackson State, I should say, eats up inside. Billups 6'1", 320. Luis McLeod 6'4", 330. Defensive tackles.
And they don't move.
Smalls again under pressure, and again he goes down. That's Donovan Robinson, the senior. A loss of 13 and another sack for Jackson State Steve.
When you've got perimeter pass rushers there, you can't run backwards at all. He attempts to do a spin move to the outside. You are not going to outrun these guys. Even had he gotten away from Robinson, there were backups there in the form of Michael Dukes. You can't turn your back to an aggressive defense.
So fourth down, punting unit on. Last time Francois Ejiofor had some trouble with it. This time the snap goes over his head, but a whistle before the play and a flag.
Texas Southern very fortunate. They saved themselves.
That was before the play. Jackson State was hoping it was after the play and you could decline that, but that was before the play. So back it up 5 yards. Foul, but no harm.
Illegal percentage penalty really helped them out.
Ejiofor again having trouble with it, and he's taken down at the 10-yard line. A 15-yard loss in Jackson State with prime field position.
I mean, I think he just dropped it. I mean, that's a perfect snap right down the middle. He just dropped it. might have taken his eyes off of it to look at the pass rush, but you've got to catch that.
That's twice he's dropped the punt, and it was the wide receiver Rico Richardson making the play on special teams for Rick Comegie's squad. So now Jackson State will start on the Texas Southern 11-yard line, already up 13-0 with a little more than 8.5 to play here in this first half.
We talked about it on the road. Now the crowd's into it, very loud, and look for them to try and score quickly. So often aggressive offenses try and capitalize on defensive turnovers in a hurry.
On the ground, this is Marquise Stone, and he's into the end zone. 11-yard touchdown, 19-0 Jackson State. So the big fullback, who on an earlier touchdown had a big block, now he gets the honors.
Just watch the legs. He never stops the legs. He changes directions. He's always got the legs cutting and shifting. Moves like a tailback from the fullback position. I like Marquise Stone.
Okay, played a little running back last year in the New Mexico State transfer. Point after is good, 20-0 Jackson State. You heard the cannon. And when we go to break, you're going to hear the sonic boom of the South. The Jackson State band, they're going to make some noise. The home team up 20-0.
It pays to discover.
The sonic boom of the South making some noise, and Jackson State making noise on the scoreboard, up 20-0, and they've done all their damage here in this second quarter.
Yeah, and if you're Texas Southern, that's what you don't want. The sonic boom of the South, getting this crowd into it, pom-poms flying everywhere, and quite frankly, a quarterback that's picking you apart in a running game to go along with it too.
And that's surprising. Texas Southern has one of the best defenses, not only in the SWAC, but in all the FCS. They've allowed 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 from 30, 1 from 11. This is one of the best front sevens in the country as well at the FCS level.
And that's surprising, because when you talk to their defensive coordinator, the strength of this team is their linebackers and their front four, but they're not showing it so far tonight.
Michael Holmes, he can't hang on. That's been a problem for Texas Southern. And Holmes tripped up at the 16-yard line. Let's look at both the rushing touchdowns for Jackson State, Jay.
Yeah, and the way they've been able to do it, power football there, great lead block by Dunn, springing the hole for good and to get into the end zone. And then you see what not only can Dunn block, but he can make you miss too. Good moves to the outside, good solid running there. Jackson State showing they're not just a finesse team with the passing game, they can muscle and get physical as well.
Okay, so now you're Texas Southern, you're down 20-0. You've seen Jackson State score 3 touchdowns on their last 5 plays. Now Texas Southern, they're on offense. This is a team that likes to run the ball down 20-0. How does it change their game plan offensively?
I don't think you can change who you are. You've got to continue trying to run the ball. They need to get one long mounted drive, and I wouldn't rely on just the passing game, because as you see right there, that's not their comfort zone.
Underthrown, that was for Richard Samuel. And yeah, Rico Smalls, the quarterback, came into this game with a completion percentage of under 50.
Yeah, 45% passer, so you want to limit the number of attempts that he actually has and try and get this running game going. You're down by 20 on the road, 8 minutes to go. Get one of those 4 or 5 minute drives where you can score a touchdown and make this a 2-score game by halftime.
Six yards for Marcus Wright, so it'll bring up 3rd down and 4.
You know, Marcus Wright is one of the guys that he can run the football. You're talking about a young man that was the first-team all-conference SWAC running back a season ago, back for a senior year. So what they need to try and do is continue to power run the football with him, because he can eat up some clock and he can pick up 4 or 5 yards a carry.
Wright, 11 rushes, 52 yards, on pace for a 100-yard game. He gets it here on 3rd down, and Wright looks to have himself a 1st down. Luis McLeod and Jamal Carter made the tackle, but not before 6 yards and a new set of downs.
Yeah, great individual effort here. Sees the cutback lane and manages to get through it just in time to pick up the 1st down. See, I think that the problem schematically that Texas Southern has, they're so reliant upon the power running game and their passing game is predicated off a play-action pass. But Jackson State has defensive ends that take aggressive angles on the outside. They keep your quarterback in the pocket.
That's right. That time as a receiver. And he's close to another first down, up to about the 38-yard line.
And you heard me talk about how they want to keep the quarterback in the pocket. Perfect example right here. Watch Joseph LeBeau. This is the stand-up end. He's going to peek into the backfield. He's not going to allow the quarterback to go anywhere. You see right here? He's looking. Okay, no, you're not getting outside me. You can step up, but I'm not going to let you step around me. They're keeping Smalls in the pocket where they think he's not as comfortable.
It is good for 10 yards and another first down for Texas Southern, so moving the chains with less than 7 minutes to play here in the first half. Play action. Smalls under pressure, taken down from behind. Donovan Robinson again getting to the quarterback for Jackson State.
Houston, we have a problem. Texas Southern's located in Houston, in case you didn't know. Donovan Richards going to keep coming around here, beating them on the edge. They can't block him right now. That's a mismatch. If you got Donovan Robinson going against Kenneth Hall, Robinson's just eating him up every single play.
How about this? Texas Southern has attempted 13 passes. They've been hurried 9 times, sacked 4 times. Martin Gilbert maybe got back to the line of scrimmage, and it's number 54 again, Donovan Robinson, who makes the tackle. He's everywhere.
Yeah, he's getting up, and this is a great football player there. They said he's got NFL potential. He'd be a perfect outside linebacker. You see him taking on the lead blocker, getting underneath the fullback, and making the tackle for a loss in the backfield. Talk about a guy with a tremendous motor and great upside. He's got it all.
So 3rd down and 10, another passing down here for Texas Southern. Let's see if Jackson State brings more pressure.
No need to. They're getting there with their defensive line. They can just sit back and play zone coverage.
That's exactly what they're doing. Smalls on the run, throws for Joe Anderson, and he can't hold on.
No need to blitz. Although they like to blitz, if you've got guys that can get after the quarterback like this and you've got the mismatch, Robinson's making them leave the pocket, and then the secondary can just sit back there and play zone coverage. You'll see it there, and this is a great effort by Joe Anderson. Almost comes down with that ball.
All right, now the punting has been adventurous for Texas Southern. Francois Ejiofor bobbled 2 punts already.
Drop
Bobbles
another
the
one.
3rd one, and it's blocked. It's loose. Jackson State has it. They're going to take it to the house for a touchdown. Tim Dandridge. So special teams with another big play. It was Rico Richardson who blocked the kick, and Tim Dandridge picked it up, raced into the end zone. 26-0.
Yeah, he's got to make that catch. If he makes that catch, he has a chance of getting that off. And the ball's just on the ground and gets kicked all around, and Tim Dandridge is there to pick it up and take it to the end zone.
So special teams has been a nightmare for Texas Southern in this first half. They've had no faith in their place kicker, and the punting has been adventurous, to put it kindly. 27-zip. Jackson State in control. Let's check in with Dari in the studio.
Anish, happy to give you a break as I tell everybody what's coming up on the State Farm halftime report. We will update.
All right, thanks, Dari. Jordan Jefferson back. Here's the question. Does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
They have navigated probably the toughest September schedule of any contender. They're 4-0, and Jarrett Lee's played pretty well.
And I think if you're Jordan Jefferson, you have to come back on the team without the expectation of getting your job back. Don't break up the team chemistry. The team is playing well. They're off to a great start. It hurts, but you got to think about the overall big picture rather than individual.
Look at their 3 wins. They've got 4 wins, but the 3 big ones. Oregon, a neutral site game. They beat Mississippi State in Starkville, and then West Virginia in Morgantown.
And I think because of those quality wins, that's why they moved up to being the #1 team in the country.
Deshaun Daniels, a couple of nice cuts, and he's out to the 25-yard line. That's where Texas Southern starts. Can they withstand the Jackson State D?
Well, we came in here talking about the Texas Southern D, which is the #1 defense in all of FCS football. But tonight, it's been a matter of pressure being applied by the Tigers of Jackson State as opposed to the Texas Southern 212-degree defense. You know, something to notice, and I think give yourself credit, Niche. Yesterday, you said you thought Jackson State was spending an unusual amount of time on special teams. Remember that special teams practice? Well, yeah. I think we see why Coach
You're giving me credit. Wow.
Every now and then. Don't get used to it, franchise.
Only took a year and a half. There's Marcus Wright as they go on the ground, and Wright gets to about the 29-yard line. Give him 3, 2nd and 7. Well, look what's happened at Texas Southern. We've seen their kick returners bobble kickoffs. We've seen their punting to be a complete nightmare. They had one punt where the punter bobbled it, recovered, and got off, what, about a 20-yard punt. Another one, he bobbled, recovered, was tackled. Jackson State took over at the 11-yard line. And then the last one, again bobbled, then blocked. Jackson State recovers and then scores. Smalls throws, and he led his receiver a little too much. That was Wayne Ingram. He's the second tight end, not the receiving tight end.
Yeah, it's not going to be there. You know, they've got a passing game that's predicated off of play action pass, bootleg rollouts. How many times have we seen Smalls been able to get out of the pocket?
Well, now we're starting to see Jackson State contain those edges better.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing, just having those defensive ends with a hard outside pass rush, and they're dropping back playing zone. I mean, keep in mind, this is a defense that wants to blitz the quarterback, but there's no need when your front four really just going through the front offensive line for Texas Southern.
Smalls again, trying to escape, and he can't. It's LeBeau. The 5th sack of the first half by this Jackson State D. Let's go back to the last 2 punts.
That was just a drop right there. Your punter's got to catch that ball, get rid of it. He dropped it there. Then the next time there, what'd he do? Low snap, but he drops it again. Go out there with a glove. He's got to find a way to catch that ball and get rid of it. Now let's see if the 3rd time can be the charm and he can just actually catch the snap from the center.
Francois Ejiofor.
Uh-oh. No, he could have got that off.
More trouble.
He could have gotten that off. Now he's shot.
You wonder if it's in his head.
Yeah, he's gun shy right now. He's gun shy. He's dropped a couple. Had the one block there after he bobbled it. He could have gotten that one off.
This is the 3rd straight possession where Jackson State's going to start.
Clean catch, step up and punt it.
Yeah.
Where was the pressure? He caught it cleanly. Should have gotten that one off, I thought. You got it. Come up, kick it. Oh.
It was low. It bounced, but
he fielded that one cleanly. We're talking about baseball all night long.
It was a ground ball, though.
Yeah, ground ball that he fielded cleanly. You got to come up and make that play.
So how about this for the 3rd straight possession? Well, you don't really count the last one because Jackson State blocked the kick and then went to the end zone. But for the 2nd straight time, the offense has had the ball. They're inside the 15. Terrio overthrows his man. He wanted Wilder, who already has 1 touchdown.
That's the 2nd time they have not been on the same page tonight. Terrio's calling. He's making a call check at the line of scrimmage for the fade route. Wilder's not picking up the audible being made, and he's going to block when it was a pass play.
Special teams has really hurt Texas Southern in this first half. The one time when Ejiofor, the punter, was tackled after he muffed the handle on a punt, it led to an 11-yard touchdown. The second one, the kick was blocked, led to a touchdown off the block. Now Terrio will run it himself, and he powers his way into the end zone.
Run the option on the in-man line of scrimmage. Got to follow the middle linebacker. William Parker, number 51, should be here to make that tackle. But no,
there by the tight end, Renty Rollins.
We talk about Terrio's arm. He's trying to show us the legs tonight there. Taking on the middle linebacker. As we used to say, going head up in the hole and getting in the end zone for the score.
We chronicled his journey earlier. Stops at 2 junior colleges. He was involved in a bar fight, which led to the death of 1 person. Ended up serving 6 months in jail for involuntary manslaughter after taking a plea deal. was searching all over the nation for an opportunity. Everybody knew this kid had talent, and there were some BCS schools that were interested. He was telling us earlier today, but none of them wanted to take a chance on him because of the PR nightmare with his checkered past, if you will, and he's trying to move past that, and finally Jackson State has given him a chance. And from everybody we've talked to, they said he has been a model citizen since he came here. His first day in training camp last year, he didn't act like the guy. And you think about his surroundings, white quarterback, historically black college, but this community has really taken to him, and they've really nurtured him as he gets his second chance, and he's made the most of his second chance, so give him credit in that department.
And I think that anybody will meet him will tell you right away, we were impressed with him. He's a good kid. Good kid, handles it well, very comfortable with it, has matured a lot. And I think, you know, he's at the point now where he realized he can't erase it. He can't control what people think about him. He can just handle life day by day. He's doing a good job. And on top of that, really good football player too, Anish.
Terrific football player. The SWAC's preseason player of the year. And he's got his team up 34-0. ESPNU's coverage of high school football continues tomorrow night. We've got Bishop Gorman, the Gales, in action, taking on the Servant, the Friars. Geico ESPN High School Football Showcase presented by Nike on ESPNU tomorrow at 10 Eastern.
Now, I'm a Southern California guy. Servites.
Servites.
And their famous alum is?
You tell me.
Steve Berline.
Steve Berline, wow. People forget Steve Berline, pretty good run with the Panthers. Played in a Super Bowl.
Yes. Look out.
Smalls just throws that one away. That was Jake Delhomme who was in the Super Bowl.
Delhomme was a
I believe actually Berline might have played in one of those Super Bowls with the Cowboys. He was with the Cowboys, wasn't he, as a backup?
And had a good run in Notre Dame, obviously.
Yeah.
Played in the NFL for years and played in Notre Dame since we've got Notre Dame theme in the game here tonight with Rudy,
yeah.
in the stands.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rudy gave Jackson State, a lot of the football players in attendance around 9, 10 o'clock this morning, gave him a little bit of a pep talk. Whatever he said, it's worked. They've scored 34 points in the second quarter.
Oh,
right,
move.
nice spin move, and he's got himself a first down. So less than 3:30 to go here in this first half. Texas Southern not abandoning the run just yet.
I mean, Marcus Wright, you can see why. He's got a running back with this type of ability. Watch him get in the hole. Great spin move here. He's going to size up the linebacker, spin before he gets there. Lower the shoulder. Oh, man, that's a good running right there. Look, this is the highlight film right here. Can't get me. He sees him, spin move there, lower the shoulder. You can't tackle me. Puts it right on Richard Hughes, the safety there. Highlights.
This is Gilbert now. And on first down, he gets to the 45-yard line, a gain of 6.
And this is what we thought the Texas Southern might have the ability to do. Run the ball a little bit, off tackle, find a crease, lean on that defensive line for Jackson State. Seems like it's a little bit too little too late after spotting the Tigers a 34 spot.
It's still only the second quarter. And this game, believe it or not, was a scoreless tie going into the quarter. That's Daniels. He gets a yard. Third down and 3.
Martin Gilbert carries for Texas Southern.
2:20 to go here in the half.
3rd and 3, Texas Southern.
Texas Southern, they've dominated time of possession, but sometimes it's how you use that time. Jackson State has had the ball for 5 minutes and 1 second the entire game. 5 minutes and 1 second, 34 points. Smalls throws. He's got his tight end Fitzhugh, and Fitzhugh looks to have the first down.
It's going to be close for Texas Southern.
Well, here's the thing. Let's say if it's 4th down. They're giving him the first down, but even if it was 4th, do you risk punting again?
Not if you don't have to. You don't risk punting, and we know they don't risk field goal tries, so could it be 4-down territory for the rest of the game?
Makes it tough to coach that way.
Very tough, very challenging.
Time out of the field with 1:36 to go. 34-0 is the score. Casey Terrio, he's on the watch list for the Peyton Award. Who else you like on there, Jay?
I mean, you got different guys here, which I think for Casey's advantage, nobody's really stepped up right now, but these are the top 5. I think going into the season, DeAndre Presley from Appalachian State was going to be the front runner. He finished the highest out of all the guys coming back. So Appalachian State is continuing to do well. I think he's a guy you've got to watch out for, and we'll come back to that list after this play.
Gilbert on first down. He gets across midfield, a gain of 4. And let's go back to that Peyton watch list.
Yeah, and I think that Eric Breitenstein.
Your Peyton watch list.
Yes, my Peyton watch list. They've got a national one. I think Eric Breitenstein is doing a good job. He rushed for over 1,600 yards. He's at Wofford, the fullback. Denarius McGee's very talented sophomore out of Montana State. Andrew Pierce out of Delaware. Now, I think the key is Appalachian State takes on Wofford. So whoever wins that game will actually be in the forefront, I believe, for the Peyton Award. Very similar to like when you have a Heisman Trophy type matchup where the two guys are taking on each other. And if Wofford can win that game, I think Breinstein's going to be very difficult to beat. And Presley's going to be playing catch up.
5 yards for Martin Gilbert. It'll be close to a first down, 3rd and 1.
And then I also think that if Casey can get those touchdowns up there to overcome the interceptions he threw a week ago, you look at the list, and none of the quarterbacks have really distanced themselves. Casey's the only quarterback on that Peyton watch list that was averaging over 300 yards passing per game. And if they can get some more victories and they can win out during the rest of the season, he may try and bring that trophy home to Jackson State, home of Walter Payton.
Walter Payton, yeah. I've got a memorial of him outside the school. And where I'm from, let's take a look at where Jackson State quarterback Casey Terrio is from, brought to you by the U.S. Marines. Born in Wyoming Park, Michigan, graduated from Wyoming Park High School, put all sorts of ridiculous numbers up his junior and senior season. And then he graduated from Grand Rapids Community College. Also had an earlier stop at a JUCO school out in California. And then, of course, the incident at the bar, which led to 6 months in jail. And then he went back to Grand Rapids. And really, it was at Grand Rapids where he started to turn things around, impress on the field. And he got the attention of a lot of people. And he's looked at as a guy who might have a chance to be on an NFL roster come next fall.
We saw him in practice, and no
there's
ball hit the
Gilbert,
ground.
and Gilbert is going to go 42 yards to pay dirt, and Texas Southern on the board here with 22 seconds left in the first half. Martin Gilbert.
Just running right up the gut. You see the lead block there. It's not there. He sees daylight. There's no safety in the middle of the field. So once you get past that first crease, it just becomes a foot race. And they weren't going to catch Martin Gilbert. The senior running back from Dallas Skyline High School puts it in the end zone.
5th rushing touchdown of the season for Gilbert. And it took almost 30 minutes, but Texas Southern is finally on the board. And a flag before the kick.
False start on the offense, number 7. 5-yard penalty.
So back up the kick, 5 more yards. And special teams has been a roller coaster ride for Texas Southern so far in this first half. Kick is up and good, so it's 34-7 now. And Jackson State will get the ball. We'll see when they get the ball if they elect to do anything with it. But Jay, we're standing here, and it's got to be a little shocking. 34 points in the first half on Texas Southern's defense, and I know a lot of it hasn't been the defense's fault. They've kind of been handicapped with the Jackson State offense playing with a short field a lot of the times.
Yeah, and that's what it is. You know, this is the game that Texas Southern had so much riding on it coming to this game. They had a conference loss earlier versus Prairie View A&M. You think they would come in here really fired up and trying to establish themselves, but so often you go on the road, you get caught up in all the distractions, you don't focus, you don't pay attention to detail, and I believe that Texas Southern is really being hampered by their lack of effectiveness on their special teams plays. Really let them down.
Right now in the SWAC, the only teams that are unbeaten in conference play, Alabama State and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Both Jackson State and Texas Southern with 1 loss. Texas Southern lost to Prairie View A&M in its season opener. Jackson State lost last week to Alabama State. They lost only by 7 despite committing 7 turnovers in that game. Onside kick. And Jackson State all over it. They practiced that play how many times yesterday at practice?
At least 6 times, which is a lot for one particular play. That little pooch onside kick.
Okay, so Kevin Ramsey tries the onside kick. Jackson State's going to have the ball at the Texas Southern 49-yard line. Jackson State has 2 timeouts, 22 seconds. Do you take a knee or do you run a couple plays? College, first down, stops the clock, and you have 2 timeouts.
I think because you've got a quarterback that you trust, and the fact is you missed an extra point earlier in the game. You want to kind of not have that out there hanging. If you can go ahead and steal 3 points right now before the half, why not take a chance?
Looks like the plan. 4 wide here on first down. Low snap, Terrio recovers. Going deep. And it's broken up, but a flag comes in. Trey Walker on coverage. Looks like he's going to be called for pass interference. Rico Richardson was the intended receiver.
Defensive pass interference, 27. 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Yeah, you'll see Trey Walker doesn't look. That's what they used to call that the old face guard in there. And you almost thought the Watkins may be able to come down with that ball right there. Good arm strength shown by Terrio, though. That ball traveled 60+ yards in the air.
Key to remember, in college, that penalty not as big as it would be in the NFL because it's not a spot foul, at least from that far out. Empty backfield again. Terrio scrambling, throws on the run. It's incomplete. Still 8 seconds left here in this first half.
You see Terrio's eyes. Look at this. Once he gets outside the pocket, he's looking, where can I run to so I can find more vision, buy myself some more time to look downfield. He realizes the recognition of the situation that he's in the game. Not going to take off running the ball at this stage when you're running a 2-minute offense. You want to be able to throw the ball downfield, then call a timeout rather than try to run the ball and picking up 2 or 3 yards, getting tackled in bounds.
They've got it at the 34, so from here it's about a 51-yard field goal attempt. Terrio has time. He wants 6. And it's broken up, but another flag comes in as time expires. He went for his tight end, Renty Rollins. Kadarian Wilkins there for coverage. But it looks like another pass interference penalty.
Defensive pass interference, number 5. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's a football play. This late in the half, you know what they're trying to do. I didn't see anything that said that was clearly pass interference.
Okay, Jay, they're now at the 19, so this is a 36-yard attempt, but right now we see Casey Terrio on the field. He's also the holder, though. Jabril Smith looking at a 36-yard attempt. Smith's kick is up, and it is good. And Jackson State, what an opening statement. 37 points in the first half, all of them in the second quarter. They do it with stout defense. They do it with special teams. And, of course, Casey Terrio, the preseason SWAC Player of the Year, a big part of that success as well. 37-7 at the half. Let's check in with Dari in the studio for halftime.
Welcome.
You are watching ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by McDonald's. All Jackson State in the first half, 37-7. Your score at the break, and Jackson State scoring all 37 points in that second quarter, partly to Texas Southern's struggles on special teams, in particular the punting game.
Yeah, without question. I mean, we knew the job was going to be tough for Texas Southern to keep Jackson State out of the end zone. You give an offense like Jackson State a short field to work with, they're going to kill you every time, and they really took advantage of that in the second quarter.
Texas Southern essentially giving away almost 3 touchdowns just because of bad field position due to special teams. And then Casey Terrio trying to bounce back from last week where he threw 6 picks. he had some big moments in the first half.
Yeah, I think his leadership was what came into play there. Just making smart decisions with the football, making the tough throw look effortless. That's just the mark of a good quarterback. And Terrio has it. Stepping up in the pocket, good vision, buying himself some more time, and still getting rid of the ball with a deep throw downfield, allowing his playmaker to make a play for him. And then he showed you the legs, taking on the linebacker and doing it in the hole. Casey Terrio had a great job, good job of leadership in the first half, and 2 of those incompletions were just getting rid of the football. So I think he's been very efficient, and he's been the smooth operator that the coaches said he was.
And turnovers have really plagued Jackson State over their past 3 games. They had 1 in the first half. Really no harm, no foul with that turnover. They've taken care of the ball, and Casey Terrio and this Jackson State team has taken care of business so far through the first 30 minutes, 37-7. Now we'll see if Texas Southern can mount a comeback here in the second half.
You talked about the turnovers. I think the one thing that Coach Comedy had to stress to his team, or you see what happens when you turn the ball over. So if Jackson State can do a good job of holding on to the football, it'll be very difficult for TSU to get back in this game.
Randall Newsom on the short kick, and he gets to the 33-yard line. State Farm get to a better state. Well, let's see how Texas Southern and Jackson State can get to a better state.
Obviously for Texas Southern, they got to play better special teams. And they must also lengthen the field. If Jackson State's going to score points, make them go 80-plus yards to get to the end zone. Jackson State, keep the pressure on the quarterback. They've done a good job of rattling this quarterback, Rico Smalls, for Texas Southern. Keep that up, and they've got to shore up the running game. There were some creases there. Their running back right for Texas Southern was able to exploit. They got to shut him down.
Get to a better state, brought to you by State Farm. Certainly the state of Texas Southern less than desirable for Rico Smalls and company. Down 30 points here to start the second half. We talked about this at the top of the broadcast. Texas Southern's bread and butter is that rushing attack. Well, down 30, now you got audible a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, let's not forget, we saw them show that rushing attack at the end of the half, at the very end of the second quarter. So if they can keep that same momentum and take it 1 first down at a time, they might have a chance of getting back in this game.
That doesn't help. A 2-yard loss by Marcus Wright on first down. So 2nd and 12, and we've seen this a lot of these predictable passing downs, or 2nd and long, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10.
Yeah, and the problem with that is they like to roll out their quarterback. Well, it's pretty hard to get a mobile quarterback outside of the pocket when you've got a pass rush that's dictating what you can do to it. By that I mean they're telling you, we're going to let you stay in the pocket. We're not going to let you outside of the pocket. And they figured out that Rico Smalls is not comfortable as a pocket passer.
Yeah, the Jackson State defense sacked Smalls 5 times in the first half. And now Smalls wants a timeout here on 2nd and 12. First of the half for Texas Southern. And the first timeout comes less than a minute into the 3rd quarter. Not a good sign.
They wants to talk about it. Didn't like the look that he saw. And it looked as if Jackson State was going to bring the pressure, but I think you got to realize they got to him without blitzing. So they're not going to bring any pressure right now until you can show you can stop their front 4 defensive linemen from getting to the pocket.
That was the amazing thing. There were quite a few plays, probably 3 or 4 in that first half, where Smalls is rolling out, he's going backwards, and then you look downfield, everybody's still covered because they're not blitzing.
Yeah, they had 4 guys making the rush and 7 guys back in coverage, and they drove them fits.
Saturday college football on ESPNU, a full menu of games at noon Eastern. It's Penn State against Indiana, that one in Bloomington. Miami gets a visit from Bethune-Cookman out of the MEAC. Cristobal and FIU play host to Duke.
A little bit of a disappointing season for Cristobal and company down at FIU, isn't it?
Yeah, much more expected from that program and haven't lived up to it so far. It'll be 3rd and 9 after a 3-yard gain on 2nd, and they ran it on 2nd and 12, but here we are. Again, predictable passing down now on 3rd down.
And I'm going to tell you that's going to be something fun to watch for the viewers at home. Obvious pass situation. I want you to take a look at number 54 in blue. That's him right there. Watch him just shoot out of a cannon. He's got his ears peeled back. He's going to come hard.
They run it on 3rd down, and gobbled up immediately is Marcus Wright. Well, Texas Southern's about to punt again. That has been an adventure so far.
Yeah, I mean, the punter right there not catching the ball, just bad hands. He needs to go out there with a glove, and then when he does make a good save, he decides not to punt the football. So it was the very aggressive Jackson State defense. He got it cleanly, decided not to kick the ball away, and I think that was one that really hurt.
On the defense, number 35. 10 yards from the end of the run. 1st and 10.
Holding on the defense on a running play. Doesn't happen too often.
It's a break for Texas Southern, though. They get a first down.
They needed it.
After they ran on 2nd and 12 and then 3rd and 9. It's a ball now at the 49-yard line of Texas Southern. Smalls throws. It hits the helmet of a defender, and it came back the other way. That was close. Looks like it got number 40, Todd Wilcher, right in the grill.
I mean, this is a team that's so used to blitzing the linebackers that when they drop back in coverage, they're kind of not as comfortable as you would think. You have to have your eyes on the quarterback at all times. Wilcher was worried about the crossing route. Ball hit him right in the face mask.
I remarked to you at halftime, it seemed, even though Texas Southern was down 30 at the half, that they had the ball for most of the first half. They did. They had the ball for more than 24 and a half minutes in the first half. Jackson State had it for all of 5:23. Smalls on the run, and he's got Anderson for a first down. Gain of 14 yards.
That's the second time tonight we've seen Joseph Anderson go vertical and go up and grab a ball. First one, he didn't come down with it. This one did a good job of grabbing the ball, bringing it into his body, coming down with the first down grab.
He's the team's go-to guy. He's their top wide receiver. Although this is an offense that ideally would rather run the ball than throw it. On the ground here on first down. Wright gets the corner across the 30. Bumped out of bounds near the 28-yard line. A pickup of 7 yards. 2nd and 3. So Kevin Ramsey, head coach for Texas Southern, not abandoning the run just yet.
Yeah, you got to do it. You see, what do you do with Donovan Robinson? You send a fullback there to go seal the edge. Once he does that, leaves some outside running room there for Wright. So now they're starting to do the things that they came in here wanting to do with the game plan.
Here's Martin Gilbert, 1 touchdown already, and he's got a first down. Tigers inside the 25-yard line. It's the Texas Southern Tigers. Jackson State also called the Tigers.
And that's what they want to be able to do. Use that fullback in there to be a lead blocker. And right now they're having to occupy Donovan Robinson with 2 blockers on the edge and the interior line. Once that happens, you really have to lean on your interior line play to really win that battle at the line of scrimmage.
Texas Southern almost doubling up Jackson State in the rushing department. That time they go to the air, and Richard Samuel has it near the 10-yard line. Deshaun Dixon made the tackle, but not before another first down and a gain of 15.
And this is a good job by Smalls, realizing that he can't stop because you got Robinson coming, trying to track you down. You know that. When you've got that full sprint to the right side, in man on the line of scrimmage is going to come unblocked. He's kept running through a good pass. And the Tigers of Texas Southern are on the move.
So 1st and goal from the 9. And a gain of 1 yard for Gilbert. Jamal Carter, the first to meet him.
And now we saw the adjustment being made there. Teams come out, had some success, moving the pocket, rolling out. What's the adjustment? Go ahead, stack the box, get some blitzing linebackers in there with some run stops. Now they're going back to the game plan they had initially, was to crowd the line of scrimmage and force Texas Southern to throw the football.
10th play of the drive. There's Smalls. They'll dump it out. He's got Griggs. And he scampers out after a minimal gain. So 3rd and goal coming up from the 6.
And, you know, running away from the side of Donovan Richard. You're going to see him come underneath this time and make a good swim move to the inside. Still able to get pressure on the quarterback. They've got no answer for him. So what are they doing? They're calling their offense away from him.
On 3rd and goal. They'll go to the ground and into the end zone for a touchdown if the play stands. There is a flag back at the 7-yard line. If it's against Jackson State, it'll be a touchdown for Martin Gilbert, but this might be against the defense, and it is.
Personal foul on the defense, face mask. The touchdown is good. The penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Well, what are they going to do? Send the fullback over there to help seal the edge. Good job by the tight end, and he gets to the outside. That's Martin Gilbert. And yeah, he didn't get the face mask. They called it. It was one of those plays that happened so quickly. He was around that neck area. Oh, no, look at this. Got momentum, got a way to score. The least you can do is win the battle of extra points, but they couldn't even do that. Each team has missed an extra point in this contest.
So special teams goes unsaid almost at this point. It's just been a nightmare for Texas Southern, but if you want to look for silver lining, 11 plays, 63 yards, capped by Martin Gilbert's 2nd touchdown of the game. Don't go away just yet. Texas Southern still has a pulse.
This is Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is brought to you by Sport Clips. It's not just a haircut, it's pure awesome. Sport Clips, it's good to be a guy. And by Wagner Thermo Quiet Brake Pads. Save up to $50 now. Go to TQFallBlitzRebate.com for details. You hungry?
I'm full. I had a little bit of gumbo at halftime, Nish. They do it right down here. Now, your first trip down here to the deep south. What'd you think about the Southern soul food cuisine?
You want to tell the story?
Is that a no comment from you? You never had a loss of words, but it took you there and you didn't feel so comfortable taking a look at the menu. Is that a good word to describe it?
There wasn't much on the menu.
The stuff they had was good, though, Nish.
Looked like it. That's Joseph Perry out to the 15. With former Howard quarterback Jay Walker, I'm Anish Shroff. There's Casey Terrio, quarterback for Jackson State. Ran for a touchdown, threw for one as well in the first half. It's 37-13. Story of this game, special teams miscues by Texas Southern created some terrific red zone opportunities for Jackson State. They were able to capitalize. And in fact, Jackson State scored all 37 of its points in the second quarter. It was a scoreless tie after one quarter, but it's 37-13. It was 37-7 at the half. Texas Southern scoring on its first possession of the third quarter. Terrio throws, wide open receiver. That's Michael Perkins. 33 yards on the play, and Jackson State picking up right where it left off.
Well, Perkins just has the underneath route. Terrio steps up strong in the pocket, looks downfield, hits the wide receiver in stride, and then at the end of the run, you'll see just good job getting the head down and picking up as much yardage as you can. You know, and I was thinking before that drive started, Texas Southern came out, did what they needed to do, scored on their first drive, had Jackson State pinned back on the 10-yard line, forcing the long field. Then they give up that big play, and before you know it, Jackson State's in midfield.
This is Lee trying to turn the corner, and he's denied. Stopped back at the 44-yard line, a loss of 3. Lee was second in the SWAC in the 100-meter dash, but Texas Southern closed on him quickly.
Yeah, and he's one of the impact transfers for Jackson State. You know, this is a guy that transferred from SMU and has run the 100-meter dash in 10.3 seconds. That lets you know how fast that Texas Southern defense can be when they're playing full speed. He couldn't beat him to the sideline.
Lee checks out of the game. Tommy Gooden now in at running back. He had a 30-yard touchdown run earlier in this game. Here's the pressure. Terrio out of the backfield, and he's got E.J. Drury. Gain of 3 yards, so it'll bring up 3rd and 10. Drury, 6'6", 220 yards. They use him as a slot receiver.
Yeah, they like to get that mismatch if they can have the big body going against linebackers and safeties. Does a good job of coming in with that football, but that was good defense by Stephen White of Texas Southern.
Only the 4th third down attempt of the game for Jackson State. Terrio eludes the pursuit, throws, and he's got a first down. That's Wilder on the near sideline.
They're bringing the pressure there with the stunt, and they got to him, but they couldn't bring him down. And if you're going to blitz a quarterback, you better get to him before he gets rid of that ball. You're asking your defensive backs to cover for a long time downfield. Terrio with the presence to recognize the open wide receiver.
Wilder coming off a big game at 10 catches for 146 yards, 2 TDs in last week's loss to Alabama State. Gooden picks up 2, maybe 3. Second down. Oh, you've seen almost a half and a little more of Casey Terrio. Jay, you played quarterback in the NFL. You were a standout quarterback at Howard. Is Terrio a guy who can play on Sundays?
I think so, because he's got certain things that you must have as a quarterback. You've got to start there. One is the accuracy. He's very accurate. We saw in practice. Did he miss a pass all practice long? Not at all. He's got good presence about him, and we know mentally he's got that mental toughness you need. He's going to be a guy, you get him into camp, you develop him, let him learn your offense. He won't hurt you, and he can definitely beat you with some of his throws he makes.
Terrio still on his feet. There is a flag on the play, and then Terrio throws it incomplete along the far sideline, but there was a flag. Came down at the 39-yard line.
Offsides on the defense, number 7. 5-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
So that's Marquise Jackson. Rare slip up for one of the better D linemen, not just in the SWAC, but in all the FCS. And that's 10 penalties now on Texas Southern. So 2nd and 8 becomes 2nd and 3. And another whistle.
And another penalty, I would think.
There's no flag on the play. Again, there's no flag on the play.
So still 2nd and 3, nothing changes.
Don't be too aggressive in your defensive play selection if you're Texas Southern. Don't do the blitz. Looks like they're getting ready to bring some pressure, and they hit you and go over the top.
Terrio fires. First down and more. How about a touchdown? The tight end, Renty Rollins. Terrio's 2nd touchdown pass of the game, and Jackson State answers right back.
If you blitz, that's man-to-man coverage. This was perfectly executed by Jackson State. You're going to see them, same play that they've been calling. You got the clear-out route here. You're going to just get a little rub, then come out here. And once they do this and he gets outside the pocket, easy going. Now watch the block by Marcellus Wilder downfield in the end zone. That's how you play wide receiver and get the block for your big tight end to let him get into the end zone.
Another flag before the kick. How about Renty Rollins, the senior tight end?
False start on the offense, 55. 5-yard penalty. Replay the try.
That's Jonathan Smith. But to go back to the point about Rollins, came into the game with 11 catches and 169 yards on the season today. 4 for 114 and a touchdown.
They stepped up big, and they saw something in the game plan. Been similar routes, getting him out to the flats, and he's been able to run after catch for a lot of yardage.
Point after is good. It's 44-13. Jackson State in control. 6 touchdowns by 6 different players for the Tigers. Jackson State leading Texas Southern. Let's take a look at tonight's Bringing the Flavor, brought to you by McDonald's. With Jay Walker and Eastroff. You know, Teddy Roosevelt used to have a saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. Do more with less.
Yes.
Jackson State, 26 plays they've run in this game, and they've scored 6 touchdowns. So they're scoring a touchdown on almost a quarter of their plays.
Effective offense. You know, that's what we talk about, coaches. Some coaches say, I don't read stats. And it's for games like this that you don't read the stats.
Yeah, if you looked at time of possession, it's not even close. Texas Southern has had the ball for most of the game, but then you look at the scoreboard and you're saying, how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, special teams. You got to win in all facets of the game, and that's why stats are just for those people that like to look at stats. The fact of the matter is it's got to be one on the field. You know,
that's Newsom out of bounds at the 29.
I haven't been here to Jackson State in a while, you know, and you forget about how rowdy and what a live collegiate black college atmosphere this place produces. We've been going on the road. This crowd is into it, doing every commercial break they've got it going, and also off the record. Well, I'm on the record now.
You're on the record, pal.
I forgot how good that Sonic Boom of the South really was.
Sonic Boom of the South.
They blew this place away at halftime. I mean, why? You're making the block a couple times. How many environments have you seen like this on Thursday night? Impressive.
Bethune-Cookman certainly had a great band. Florida A&M, their band is one of the best, but the Sonic Boom of the South, they're right up there. Not much for Marcus Wright. Luis McLeod on the stop. No gain on the play.
You know, I was looking, we got some Twitter responses talking about the greatest player of the SWAC. Somebody said, what about modern era players? And you know, the name I just threw out there is really making waves, representing the SWAC conference. Who do you think it is?
Is it you?
No, I'm not from the SWAC. I'm a MEAC
That's
guy.
Right, you're MEAC. I'm sorry. That's
but
right.
In the NFL today, you ever heard of Robert Mathis?
Robert Mathis, yeah.
DN from Indianapolis Colts, played at Alabama A&M. Saw him play in college. He was a beast.
Small's pass in traffic. It's caught at the 40-yard line. It's a first down. 12 yards. Richard Samuel on the reception.
This is a straight drop back, and you see Small step into the throw here. Simple curl flat read. But when they can only rush with 4, and they've got 7 defenders, that window of opportunity is going to be very quick.
Man down is Andre Wright, redshirt freshman corner out of Brooksville, Mississippi. Saturday morning, ESPNU previews a full day of college football at 9 a.m. Eastern. Join Aaron Andrews and David Pollack for College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Then at 10 a.m. Eastern, catch a special college football version of Sports Nation. And at 11, it's The Whip, the show that gets the latest from all the game sites just prior to kickoff. We go back to those tweets. You mentioned a question. It was, who's the best player in the history of the SWAC? We touched on Walter Payton. We touched on Jerry Rice. I thought you said it best, though. It's the guys at the top of the conversation. Walter, Jerry, Glenn, Steve, Doug. Guys that only need one name.
Yeah, it's like in basketball, you know, you got Yao.
Right.
Dirk,
Kobe. LeBron.
Yeah, Magic, you know, Bird. Yeah, that's it. Those were some of the legends, the one-name legends. You know, that's what we like to call them. And what a good one, the tradition of the SWAC conference. I mean, you know, I can name you some guys that you probably never even heard of, but the folks in the SWAC have. Bruce Eugene, the quarterback at Grambling. I think he was second or third in all-time passing. Robert Kent right here at Jackson State. You used to call him Superman.
course, you can get in on the conversation. Tweet us at ESPNU. There's Smalls. He'll take off. Got some good speed, and he's out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Gain of 8 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd down. Follow Jay Walker on Twitter while you're at it. You got to get some more followers, pal.
I told you.
I know you're new. You're new. You're new to it. You're new to it.
You know,
Jay Walker, ESPN. There it is.
Get the face, but you know, we got the Facebook going. Now the Facebook is hot. You know, it's a little transition. You know, Twitter's kind of, you know, I'm old school a little bit. It takes me a while. I just got rid of my MySpace page. That's a joke. That was a joke.
You're still calling it the Facebook, though. It's just Facebook.
Now look at this play here by LeBeau.
Boy.
Look at LeBeau. That's how you play that in position. You see no helmet. Helmetless guy there just going for the stuff for the running back. You know, they play that stand-up defensive end position, and Joseph LeBeau is a guy that's just got that motor running at all time, doesn't even need a helmet.
All right, Jay, 4th down. Francois Ejiofor on to punt. They've had problems with the snap, catching the ball on the punt. Just getting the punt off would be a moral victory for Texas Southern.
I would give him some gloves.
Hey, what do you know?
And he booted it, too. Good leg. By golly, he can kick.
How about this? Inside the 5. So when Texas Southern is able to punt it, that's a 51-yard boot. And Jackson State will start inside its own 5 when we come back. Sometimes moral victories count. Jackson State quarterback Casey Terrio will be the subject of an E60 feature that'll air on October 11th. And you look at his journey, was a hotshot quarterback coming out of high school, but had to start at junior college in California. Then in January of '08, his entire life changed. He was involved in a fight outside of a bar in his hometown, near his hometown in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Terrio was punched by another man, Jonathan Krystiniak. Terrio threw one punch, then fled the scene, but others with him got involved in the fight. They started kicking and stomping Krystiniak. 2 weeks later, Terrio found out that Krystiniak had died from cerebral hemorrhage and acute alcohol poisoning. Terrio took a plea deal, got 6 months in jail, eventually landed at Grand Rapids Community College after he was released from prison, or I should say jail, and then he got a scholarship from Jackson State in May of 2010. And boy, a marquee year last year where he was the SWAC Newcomer of the Year and part of the first team all-conference.
And I think, you know, part of that to realize it was, you hate to talk about the deceased, and it was a sad situation ultimately, but in Terrio's defense, you know, Krystiniak punched him first.
Yep.
And he just responded and defended himself.
Terrio intercepted by Wilkins, and Wilkins is going to run it back. He's going to have some room. Big block downfield. A flag comes in. Wilkins pushed out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Might be coming back a bit further. Tyler Crane absolutely leveled a Jackson State player. Question is, was it a clean block?
Illegal block in the back on the return team. It'll be a 10-yard spot, 10-yard foul from the spot of the foul. 1st and 10, Texas Southern.
Nobody there for the play action. Couldn't really step into the throw, and that's just a great job of pursuit. And let's take a look at the right there. And no need, he'd already run away from him.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where they've got to call that. It's almost like the offense is taking a cheap shot at the defense because the defense has been hitting them all night long.
How about Jackson State, though, inside its own 5, taking a shot? That was an ill-advised throw, though, by Terrio.
You know, not surprised at the call. You know, I remember during the college days when I played, that wasn't uncommon to take a deep shot. You get it out there 50 yards, it's just like a punt. You just want your receivers to make the tackle after the catch, after the INT.
8 yards for Martin Gilbert on 1st down, and Texas Southern in the red zone.
You know, right now, You know, they're slowly trying to make this a ball game. They got the turnover. I think what they need to try and do, though, is really, you know, they got to get a hurry-up offense. They're still huddling up after every play. They got to score quickly.
Another run, and it's good for a first down. 4 yards for Gilbert. So first down inside the 15. Terrio, as well as he's played for Jackson State, interceptions have been a bit of a problem this year. He had 6 last week, but 3 of them really weren't his fault. Receivers dropped balls. Receivers had balls go off their hands. They were tipped. The other team caught them. But the coaches told us the one thing he still has to learn is sometimes when not to force it. He'll still force it at times.
Yeah, and that happens when you find young quarterbacks with strong arms. You know, they could always squeeze it in there. And then it's something that it's a process. You've got to learn, you know, when to take your little check down or not. Something that every quarterback in the country struggles with that one. I guess minus Andrew Luck. You know, what is Andrew Luck grading out around 99% right now? Haven't had a quarterback. You got to say, wow, if he's a 99% draft grade, what's it take to get 100?
Right. Brock Ewart had an interesting take the other day, saying that he actually might be ahead of where Peyton Manning was while at Tennessee. Here's Gilbert, and he's tackled back at the 15 for a loss of 3. It was Donovan Robinson. We've called his name a few times tonight, getting into the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, Robinson's all over the field. He's just got that motor, that high end. That high-end guy comes in there, sheds the block, keeps it in front of him, and then shoots the gap. You know, if you're going to get him and he's got that outside leverage there as a running back, you've got to cut inside of him. Robinson baits you to thinking you can get him outside and you're not going to outrun him. I like that, the fact that they said if you told him he wasn't the fastest man on the defense, he would be upset.
Right.
At 6 feet, what is he, 6'4", 250 pounds? And he's the fastest man on the team, or if he's even in that category, he's a beast.
Smalls on 3rd down, completes to Samuel out of the backfield, but Samuel is going to be short of the first down, knocked out of bounds by Quay Cox, and the kicking unit so far is on the bench.
Yeah, this is one here where you got a 2-level throw. Anderson's actually going to beat his man here, but you're going to see the inside then back out. Take a look at Anderson here, though, in your slot, though. Had Smalls had a little bit more patience. Look at that. He's got him in trail position. That was a missed opportunity for a touchdown.
Going for it, no surprise, down 44-13 here on 4th and 3. It's a toss.
Nowhere to go.
And Gilbert's got nothing. Mike Hill, weak side linebacker, gets to him, and a missed chance for Texas Southern as they'll turn it over on downs.
They're going to try the toss sweep. They seal off Robinson on the inside, but counting on your wide receivers to act as your lead blocks on a toss sweep versus a very aggressive defense. Gutsy call, risky call, didn't pay off.
ESPNU's coverage of college football continues Saturday at noon Eastern. Joe Pod, Penn State, visit Indiana. Then at 3:30 Eastern, Bethune-Cookman out of the MEAC goes to Coral Gables to take on Miami. That's a 3:30 start. All a part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. Terrio throwing on first down. Even with the big lead, not afraid to throw. And that's Michael Perkins picking up a first down, 23 yards. They call the offense the air raid for a reason. Last week in that loss to Alabama State, Jackson State threw it 67 times. They only ran it 31 times. I'm talking to the offensive coordinator, Ernest Wilson. He said, ideally, he'd like to get closer to 50-50. Terrio off his back foot, just heaves it out of bounds. But there is a flag back at the 22.
They wonder if that's a roughing the passer. Terrio got hit after he got rid of that
Marquise
football.
Jackson did get to him.
Holding. On the offense, number 24. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
Look at the Sheridan Broadcasting Network poll, the Sheridan poll. South Carolina State right now getting the most first place votes, 22 of them. Jackson State 6th in the poll, and then you've got Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, Albany State and Tuskegee, always strong presences there as well. Terrio slings it, and it is nearly picked off, but it falls incomplete. Let's go back to the Sheridan poll. The Sheridan poll crowns the national champion in black college football, and that's what Jackson State's playing for this year. Because of their low academic progress rate, they can't play for the SWAC championship.
Yeah, they're ineligible for it. And, look at number 9, Hampton. We saw them a week ago, had an opportunity to be 3-1, thought they won the game at the end of the year, and to have the call overturned, pretty much going to be tough for them to win the Black College National Championship, but that's a tough way to go down. But Bethune-Cookman right there at that number 2 spot.
Terrio to Rollins, and that's a first down. It's the tight end again. 5 catches now for the senior.
And you're going to see him come up here. We've been seeing him go outside. This time he's going to run a little dig route, come on the inside, and you'll see Terrio just deliver a perfectly thrown ball. Once he crosses that linebacker, hits him in stride. Something that young quarterbacks can learn. Always make that tight end or that slot receiver your best friend. They're the most dangerous man on the field. They can get to the middle, they can get to the outside, they can cross the field for you.
Terrio certainly targeted Rollins in this game. Rollins well over 100 yards, also has a touchdown. Jackson State picks up the blitz, but the throw behind the intended receiver, so it'll be 2nd down. Make it 4th down.
Well, they had an opportunity to talk to some of the local folks here, and all eyes were on Casey Terrio after the performance last week in this football team. They wanted to see how the team was going to come out and respond, and you think they answered those questions they might have had?
This is a loud statement. I mean, 44 points on Texas Southern, even though a lot of those were aided by some miscues on special teams by Texas Southern.
And we mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast. This is the defending SWAC champion. So this is the team that had some pride there. They've got some returners on that championship squad.
30-second timeout. Texas Southern.
It's a pretty good whipping they're putting on them right now.
Looking around HBCU football news and notes. Mr. Efficient Chris Wally, 3rd in the FCS in pass efficiency.
Yeah, I mean, Pete Adrian has Norfolk State, one of those teams underneath the radar. They're 3-1 on the season. That one loss was to West Virginia, a game in which they were winning at halftime.
Yeah, they were up on West Virginia, put a scare into the Mountaineers.
Like, can I kind of do this?
Well, it hasn't really been the yards that have hurt them. It's kind of been where Jackson State has started. But again, 44 points on this defense is still pretty impressive. And then Stan Connor out at Benedict College, James Woody in. What do you make of the coaching change?
Well, I mean, that rarely happens in the middle of the year, and the name James Woody is no stranger around here in Jackson, Mississippi. He was the offensive coordinator for Coach Comegys for years. Now he's the head coach at Benedict.
Joe Anderson fields the punt, scampers out of bounds at the 37.
When's the last time in college football period we've heard of a coaching change in the middle of the year where they bring in an outsider? Well, not where they normally fire the head coach and they promote somebody to interim head. Well, in the case of Benedict, they fired the head coach and brought in a guy from outside the coaching staff to be the new head coach.
You just don't see that in football, period.
Yeah. Yes. So that's just something that's interesting to see, and they must have a lot of faith in James Woody and Benedict.
2 yards for Marcus Wright on 1st down, and that will likely be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Jackson State with a 44-13 lead. I don't think any of us expected Jackson State to put up 44 on this defense. We knew their offense was good. This is one of the best offenses you'll see in the FCS, but Texas Southern taking it through 3 quarters. 44-13. 15 minutes left to play here in the capital of Mississippi. Dion Lewis last year.
Last season. Seems like they're starting to build that old tailback pipeline at Pitt, going from LaShawn McCoy to
Dion Lewis.
And now you got Graham right there in the next mix. And
that's Kirk Fitzhugh to the 40-yard line for Texas Southern. Well, remember Dion Lewis when he came on as a redshirt freshman. I mean, he was threatening and breaking Tony Dorsett's records.
Yeah, I mean, they've got that going there. So what a good win, though, for that Pitt program there. If they can hold on and get that victory, that would be kind of a statement there.
Samuel made the catch, but he's out of bounds.
Considering all the things that took place during that offseason there in Pitt, coaching changes, and you see, take a look at this throw here. Going for the double move on the outside. Ball thrown a little bit too far out of side, too far out of bounds.
All right, ready for this again? Texas Southern's punting. This has been quite adventurous all night. Francois Ejiofor has had a kick blocked. A couple times he's been tackled. That's 2 in a row that he's gotten off clean. When he gets him off, he's got a pretty good leg. Bounces into and out of the end zone, a 59-yard punt. So last 2 punts have gone for 59 and 51. Let's take a look at tonight's Lexus playbook. We look at Casey Terrio.
Yeah, they've showed it all to you. See him right here stepping up in the pocket. Watch the arm strength there to throw the ball 50 yards in the air, not being able to step into it. Then you're going to talk about seeing the legs right here, the decision making, the good mobility, get outside the pocket and score a touchdown, and then the accuracy. Quick play fake, hit the tight end in stride so he can rumble into the end zone there. Casey Terrio showing you everything in the bag thus far tonight.
Terrio will throw on first down with his team up 31. Middle of the field. Wide open is big fullback Marquise Dunn. And Jackson State into Texas Southern territory, a gain of 32. Dunn's had himself a pretty nice game at a big block that led to a touchdown, ran for a touchdown.
This is the play they scored the touchdown on earlier. They were trying to come back out here and hit it here. It wasn't there, so what did they do? Watch Dunn just find the soft spot in the zone, get behind there, and Terrio realized they covered up the tight end. Hey, I've got a third option there. Enough time to read his progressions and pick up the big play.
This is Gooden, and he gets across the 45-yard line. Nice run on first down. Gain of 5. It'll bring up 2nd and 5. We've heard a lot of good nicknames about Terrio. White Tiger.
Yeah. I think his favorite.
Blue-eyed Soul Brother, but I like the one that one of the locals came up with. We talked about it at the top. The Peyton Manning of the SWAC.
Of the SWAC. And then he said he's also been called the Drew Brees of the SWAC.
The Drew Brees of the SWAC.
So it's that, but you know the name I think he kind of liked, and he chuckled. Said white chocolate.
Little option there. This is Gooden. He's got a first down. Gooden, second level. Out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Pushed out by Darvion Trahan. Another first down for Jackson State. Yeah, earlier this morning, Rudy from the movie was addressing a few members of the team, including Casey Terrio, sort of a motivational speech. And he kind of asked Casey, point blank, goes, how did you end up here? White quarterback, historically black school, but he takes all of it in stride. His teammates love him. His coaches love him. He's a leader on this team. He can play a little football, too. That pass just eludes the grasp of Renty Rollins. And there is Rudy Rudiger. It's not Sean Astin. They got the real one.
Yeah, this was pregame before the game and the festivities, and you can tell Rudy takes it all in. He's a guy that just, appreciates every day of life that he has.
That's something when we talked to Casey earlier this morning, too. Terrio was telling us that sort of what Rudy was preaching about fighting adversity and persevering, he can relate to that. On the ground again, this is Raheem Sims. Flag comes in at the end of the play. Sims didn't get very far. And we told you throughout the broadcast about Terrio's own journey. 2 junior colleges, 6-month stay in jail.
Personal foul. Face mask on the defense. 48. 15-yard penalty. 1st and 10.
It's the Colorado transfer, LaGrone Shields. So move up the sticks 15 yards and a first down for this Jackson State offense. And they've got a chance to put up 50 points on the #1 defense in the country.
That's making a statement right there. And on the national stage, Terrio has really got his offense putting points on the board and moving the ball. And I think sometimes we forget how difficult it is to transfer to an offense and pick up that system. You know, last year he threw for over 3,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. He accounted for 41 touchdowns on the season and did that without having the luxury of spring football. And I think sometimes you see some of the great ones, they make it easy, like the Cam Newtons of sort, but that's very difficult to go there and completely grasp an offense in a 2-month period.
Samuel Gordy got his hands on that one, number 43 on Texas Southern, so it'll bring up 2nd and 10. Jackson State needs the 5 for a first down. Over the middle, and it's complete. Looks to be another first down. That's Rico Richardson, gain of 10 yards. And it'll be 1st and goal.
That was a good throw right there, and you saw the arm strength and the zip. Once you get down inside the red zone, those windows close so much quicker than you normally would. You see Terrio gonna sit there, look to the left, lock and load, and get rid of that ball quickly with enough velocity to get it there before the defense can break on the ball.
Little wishbone here on 1st and goal. Raheem Sims eludes one tackler, and he gets maybe a yard, so it'll bring up 2nd and goal.
This is the part of the field where I think Jackson State's a special offense. Normally you get the spread offensive teams, they try to do power football, it just doesn't look right.
They went with the jumbo backfield.
They went with jumbo, and from what I saw yesterday in practice as well as early in this game, they're a spread type offense that can really line up and pound you if they need to.
It's been the one knock on spread teams. They get close, they get in trouble. Terrio throws wide open, touchdown. Joshua Tiller, the backup tight end. And Jackson State has dropped 50 on the #1 defense in the FCS.
That's it. You know their tendencies. They like to be aggressive. And you're just going to see him. He's going to come here and find the soft spot coming across there. In case he's going to come with a play action here, buy himself a little time over this way. And good job there.
(51-13). Aaron Jackson. That's the Tigers lowering the sonic boom on the Tigers of Texas Southern.
Come on.
It has been all Jackson State, led by mighty Casey Terrio. More than 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Texas Southern, they've shot themselves in the foot. Some terrible special teams play.
The punting woes continue. The punter's got to be able to catch a punt. That's rule number 1. You can't kick it till you catch it. And then Martin Gilbert's been the lone bright spot, I would say, for this Texas Southern offensive unit there. He scored 2 touchdowns. Tonight he's been really getting it done, and I think we got to give extra credit right here. I mean,
Donovan Robinson.
Is he a football player or what? He's been the most dominating player I've seen on the field.
When we asked Rick Comegy about him, the head coach for Jackson State yesterday, he said he's the one guy that he can say for sure will have a place on an NFL roster. He's a speed end, and they said might not be big enough to play end, but can be a pass rusher and has a future in the pros, largely in part to his speed.
I covered Robert Mathis when he was in college. They had the same knock on him. Because of his size, would he be able to play defensive end in the National Football League? And Robert Mathis had 20 sacks his senior year at Alabama A&M. They still had questions about him. Go ask Tony Dungy and Jim Caldwell how good a football player Robert Mathis turned out to be.
Texas Southern will start at its own 23, 51-13. Jay, I'll ask the question. Even with the big lead, we've seen Jackson State go through the air. You got a problem with that?
I think you know, if you're talking about running it up, I think as long as you've got more than 10 minutes left in the football game, a lot can happen. You can't accuse anybody of running it up there. You've got, you know, over 11 minutes left to go in the football game. I don't think it's a run up.
It is 51-13 now, and it was 44-13 then.
Yeah, you know, and they've got, you know, they got some offense they got to get in gear. Their offense hasn't been on the field a lot tonight.
No.
I mean, what, less than 10 minutes of total offense in terms of time of possession for them. So I think they wanted to work out some kinks. They only scored a touchdown last week against Alabama State. So, you know, they want to work it out. They worked out a couple kinks and just wanted to give them some reps. Now, if they keep going, then come back and talk to me, Nish.
So wait till the next drive, in other words.
There you go.
2nd and 8. Marcus Wright got 2 on first down for Texas Southern. All right, Texas Southern special teams. Is this a long-term concern now going forward?
It is, and it obviously didn't just start tonight. If you consider the fact they have a walk-on kicker who they just got. They had to go out and get a kicker.
And they don't have much faith in him.
They don't have any faith in him, I would say, outside of 25 yards. Good throw. Oh, wow.
In and out of the hands of Jamal Jones.
While we talk about Smalls having the ability to beat you with his legs, well, he puts his ball right where you need to put it. That's a catchable ball, and that should have been a big play. Had he been able to hold on, that would have been a long touchdown grab.
Jones, the intended receiver, just a freshman from Livingston, Alabama. Getting some PT here in what coaches sometimes refer to as what, garbage time.
You know, I was a backup quarterback in the National Football League, so this was like my Super Bowl. Stuff you all call garbage time at home. I'm like, hey, this is my Pro Bowl.
My turn. First down, Marcus Wright across the 35-yard line, 11 yards on the play. There is a flag, though. Flag is up the 46-yard line.
That was a well-executed screen by Texas Southern. You like to hope it wasn't against them.
After the play, personal foul on the offense, number 84. It'll be 15 yards from the end of the run, still a 1st and 10.
Frustration foul there maybe on Kirk Fitzhugh.
It is, but let's give them credit for running a good play. I like the job here by Quinn Chris, the center. Watch his timing there. This is what you call, you go out there after the play set, you go look for somebody, and then you want it to look like bowling balls. You just want to see bodies flying all over the place. Wow! Throw your body out there in the way, see if you can get the blue jerseys to scatter. Good job by Quinn and Chris of doing the bowling ball. You like that phrase, the bowling ball on the screen. Just run, and you want to see blue jerseys just flying up in the air.
Well, blue jersey flew at the end of the play, and that's what brings it back 15 yards. It was the 13th penalty against Texas Southern. Smalls on the run, throws it, and it's nearly intercepted. Dayswan Dixon nearly came down with it.
Here's Robinson again, setting you up with the hard move on the inside, forcing him to go outside when they ran the defensive line stunt. And then Small thought he was lucky because he got outside of Robinson on that play, but didn't realize they baited him into leaving the pocket with the defensive tackle doing a twist.
If you're Kevin Ramsey, the interim head coach for Texas Southern, you go back to the drawing board after this game. How does this change your outlook now going forward?
He's still got to find the identity of his team, and I think more importantly, you know, it starts with the offense.
Nearly picked off again. That was Quay Cox.
You know, you've got an offensive coordinator that's only been working with this football program for 2 months, so you got to give time for Charlie Coe and his offensive staff to get their pieces in place to go out and recruit those type of players that work for this offense. You know, it's ironic, those people that follow the SWAC football, you know, Charlie Coe took over as the head coach at Alabama State after Johnny Cole. And Johnny Cole was a head coach at Texas Southern up until 2 months before the season, April season. And then Charlie Coe comes in, and he's not the head coach, but he's the offensive coach, offensive coordinator. So it's kind of a weird twist of fate there. But Charlie Coe managed to win a championship in the SWAC before, so he knows what it's going to take to get this team there.
Marcus Wright, catch out of the backfield. He gets close to the 40-yard line. And another flag.
Hard play action, then just find the check down. As he just continues to go through the hole. Marcus Wright's a good little football player. He's done a good job tonight. As they like to say, he's got his man all night.
Holding on the offense, 74. 10 yards from the spotted 5.
That's the freshman, Kendrick Williams. I mentioned the offense finding an identity. I mean, offense, even last year, was not really the strong suit, but they had an experienced quarterback in Arvell Nelson. They had most of the offensive line intact. You look at the penalties today, that's something else besides special teams, which has hurt Texas Southern. This year, yeah, most of their running backs come back, but only one starter on the line. That was Quinn Chris, who you signaled out not long ago. Rico Smalls in his first year as a starter. Some growing pains at the quarterback position. And defensively, they're strong up front, but a lot of youth in the secondary.
I mean, very young in the secondary. I think the most experienced player is a sophomore. Oh, what an interception.
And that's intercepted. Antonio Sutton. Sutton making his way down inside the 5-yard line.
This is a good job by Sutton, the playing defensive back. He's going to be your safety right here on the hash. Watch the recognition. Pardon me, he came from that cornerback spot. Once that ball was released, he actually came and went, and he became the aggressor. He saw the quarterback lock in on the wide receiver. Watch him run through the wide receiver. That ball's in the air. It's mine, not yours. You're not entitled to it. Sutton with a good job of reacting on the interception.
Nice looking play by the freshman from Miami. Second interception thrown by Smalls. And really, when this game started to get out of hand in the second quarter, you're a Texas Southern fan, you started to worry because their game is built on defense and running the game and running the ball. New quarterback in for Jackson State. Dedrick McDonald.
So I think this answers your question a little bit about where they, trying to run up the score a little bit. They brought the backup quarterback in there, took Casey out, and the mighty Casey.
Mighty Casey. He did not strike out. Second and goal. Up the middle. Shy of the goal line. That's Tim Rush. Redshirt freshman. Local kid from Jackson, Mississippi. It's a good name for a running back. Tim Rush.
Rush. If you can get the rushing yards per carry, really great name.
Casey Terrio, 15 of 27, 300 yards, 3 TDs, a pick. He also ran for a score. And again, Terrio, the feature of an E60 piece that'll air on October 11th. If you go on ESPN.com, a couple of great articles on him by Pat Forty and Jamel Hill. McDonald throws it away, intended for the tight end, Renty Rollins.
You talk about the articles that Pat Forty wrote. I thought it was ironic, you and I chuckled, where he said the biggest adjustment he had to make wasn't dealing with racial lines, wasn't dealing with going to HBCU. It was the accents. He said y'all. He couldn't understand what y'all meant.
He's a Michigan kid, right?
Yeah, so he said he had to adjust to the Southern accents. He went back and told his mom, I think they're nice people. I just can't understand what they're saying.
Certainly a bounce-back game for Terrio after throwing a career-high 6 picks last week. Okay, Jay, they're going 4 wide here, empty backfield. McDonald throws. Wounded duck, falls incomplete, 4th down. That was 4th down, rather, so a turnover on downs for Jackson State, and it'll be Texas Southern ball when we come back. 51-13, your score here in Jackson. Quite a tour de force by the home team.
My sister's new boyfriend told her that he thinks Sundays are just for watching football. Believe that?
Remain calm. Answering incorrectly has...
But I just...
ESPNU's college football primetime is presented by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And in part by Fidelity Investments. Turn here. There's the secret to not cramping up. The Jackson State players fed pickles. Are they fried pickles?
Well, you know where we're going to next week in Murfreesboro.
That's right. Last year when we were down there, you took me to a place where I tried fried pickles for the first time.
Think that'll help with the cramps?
You know what helps with the cramps is being up 51-13 and taking most of the fourth quarter off. A handoff here on first down. That's Martin Gilbert gets to the 5, and backup quarterback in for Texas Southern as well. We saw Jackson State's backup Dedrick McDonald play on the last series. Now it's Rudy Johnson in the game for the Texas Southern Tigers.
Freshman from San Diego, California, from the west side.
San Diego.
Now this is that part where I told you now, as the backup, this is your Super Bowl. Everybody else is kind of focusing out.
Okay.
Watch him carry out the play fake. See how live the legs are. So everything's going to be precise.
Now let me ask you this. As somebody who backed up quarterbacks in the NFL, when you got in the game, did it bother you if it was a blowout and the coach would only call running plays and you're just handing it off? Or was there a part of you that says, all right, I'm in the game. I know it's a blowout, but I'm getting a shot here. Can I air it out? Can I show folks the Jay Walker arm?
You take it. Sometimes you get that opportunity. Other times you don't. And so it was always good that, hey, mama could see her baby on TV. So I went out there and just did my job.
Yeah,
you're a professional. Yeah, yep. And then you get excited when, your coordinator says, hey, 8 minutes in the game, you're going to get a couple throws in here, to get some first downs to keep going with the clock. So
delay a game here on Texas Southern.
Delay a game on the offense. Half the distance to the goal. Replay. Third down.
That's the 15th penalty on TSU. (51-13), 6:42 to go here in the fourth quarter with former Howard quarterback Jay Walker and Schroff in Jackson, Mississippi. This was a scoreless game going into the second quarter. That's when Jackson State erupted for 37 points. There's Gilbert. He's got some room across the 30. Gilbert gets to about the 45-yard line. Martin Gilbert has been the lone bright spot for this Texas Southern offense. Santonio Sutton with a big tackle.
Gilbert showing you he can run the ball too. We saw Marcus Wright break off a couple good runs in the first half. Look at Martin Gilbert. This is how you run north-south. Not too much east-west in his game. North-south runner, hard nose, gets to the outside, makes a guy miss. And had he got a wide receiver block downfield, that would have been a long touchdown run.
Gilbert over 130 yards on the evening. He's done it on 19 carries. And it's Gilbert again. He lost a yard on first down. It's 2nd and 11. Let's look at Jackson State's remaining schedule. Arkansas Pine Bluff, October 8th. Then they go to Mississippi Valley, and they go to Prairie View. Have to remember, though, Jackson State, because of their APR, their academic progress rate, can't play for the SWAC championship. But for them, every game's important if they want to win the Black College Football Championship, which is sort of an unofficial title, but it's given out by whoever's atop the Sheridan poll at the end of the season.
Yeah, they've got to get some style points with the voters out there, and I think
this will help.
Yeah, what they've got to do is try and go out there week in and week out. I mean, if they can go 10-1, that's a fantastic record. I think that'll convince some people. And I think, if you look at the remaining schedule they've got there, I mean, early on, coming up next, they got that game against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff hasn't lost a conference game yet, so that's a tough one. Then you move along, I think the ones you've got to really keep an eye on are obviously going to be that Grambling State game there. But Grambling comes here, which is good for them. And then Alabama A&M around that time, Alabama A&M is going to know whether or not they're in contention or they're not in contention. And if they're in contention, then Jackson State will love nothing more than to knock them out.
3rd and 14. Johnson, he'll get the throw. Laser over the middle, but it's short, intended for Artie Collins. So 4th down coming up.
This is one where you get the young quarterback there. Normally you got to look for somebody to throw the ball to. How about having 2 wide receivers wide open, double post move combination? Take your pick as to which one is wide open, Anish. You tell me, where would you go with the football? They've both got separation there. They're both open. Incomplete. That's why you're a freshman.
Redshirt freshman from San Diego, getting his first action of the game. Francois Ejiofor on the punt for Texas Southern. He hasn't made things quite as exciting in the second half as he did in the second quarter.
You say that as if you're disturbed by that. Not quite as exciting as you like it to be.
Well,
the
it
drama
kept us on our toes, that's for sure.
It did. Didn't help out his team at all.
Ooh. This one bounces. It takes a Jackson State bounce down to the 27-yard line. 29-yard punt, Jackson State ball, and we come back with less than 4:30 to go. 51-13 here in Mississippi. Jackson State scored 37 points in the second quarter. That's where they did the bulk of their work. They have a 51-13 lead with less than 4.5 to play. Here's tonight's ESPNU Campus Connection, a program designed to get the pulse of the campus through student-generated content. Let's take a look at what's going on campus at Jackson State with Maurice Richardson.
I'm Maurice Richardson, a senior broadcast journalism student at Jackson State University, and I'm here at Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium. JSU begins their homecoming this Sunday with church worship beginning at 9 a.m. Also, if that's not all, come out and get your laugh on beginning next Wednesday at the Rosie McQuarrie Auditorium for the comedy show. Steve Brown will be in attendance. And if that's not all, come out to the Greek show where the Deltas, the Alphas, the Sigmas will all step it out at the Lee E. Williams Assembly Center beginning at 7 p.m. Also, Larry McNeil was named JSU Women's interim head basketball coach for the upcoming season. McNeil was an assistant coach from 2001 through 2008, and that's what's happening on Jackson State University campus.
All right, thank you very much, Maurice.
The rule number one, you got to coach them up. See, if you're going to mention 3 Greek organizations, you better mention all 6. You know, all the 6 of the big ones. You can't just leave them out there because he's going to get some calls, you know, from some Qs and some Kappas.
Right.
Say, oh, well, we're not on the yard either. We don't get to step.
That's Tim Rush for 3 yards. LeGrone Shields brought him down.
That's the one thing about HBCU football. It always comes down to homecoming. I mean, homecoming at historically black colleges and universities are like no other. I mean,
it's an event.
Your team can be 0-9, but guess what? They better win homecoming because that's going to be the largest crowd they'll see all season. And that doesn't matter if you're in the north, south, or the east or the west.
Another run on second down, and that's 4 more, so it'll bring up 3rd and about 3. Tim Rush once again.
Now, who do you think has the best homecoming?
Well, I know what you're going to say. Jay Walker played at Howard, although, and I remember you telling me the story. If I'm not mistaken, when you were there, you had what? Tupac came to your homecoming, or was it Biggie?
No, we had Biggie.
You had Biggie.
We had Bad Boy Weekend. He brought Mary J. Blige and Biggie Small.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was. That's an event, still is. I mean, they hold a press conference to announce the homecoming acts. You know, who's coming out? They just announced it last week, so I think Howard's got Jeezy coming this year.
Wow, Jeezy.
Free Yard Fest, so to go along with Slick Rick will be there as well. So it's a big one, but you know, it's funny. I always say if you compare the 2 conferences, the MEAC conference and the SWAC conference, the MEAC conference is a homecoming conference.
I remember the conversation now because watching the movie Notorious.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the scene where Christopher Wallace and Puff Daddy, they're at Howard homecoming. I asked you about that. I said, hey, did that really happen? And you said, I was there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the truth. But, you know, I would say the MEAC is a homecoming conference. The SWAC is a tailgating conference.
Gotcha.
They tailgate like nobody else. I mean, you saw a little taste of it here on the Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Great tailgating going on. You know, you go down there to Southern University, I mean, they've got the sophisticated tailgate. I mean, they're serving crawfish and boudin and all that Cajun stuff there. Alabama just barbecues and barbecues some more.
So what's your favorite SWAC tailgate there?
A Magic City Classic. Alabama State, Alabama A&M at historic Legion Field in Birmingham. 70,000 people in the stands, 70,000 people outside tailgating.
Raheem Sims around the end, tripped up after he crosses the 45-yard line, picked up 3. Stephen White made the tackle. I know, Jay, you're a big ribs guy.
Yes.
We were in Pine Bluff, Arkansas last year. Before we went to the stadium, you stopped off for some roadside ribs. Those are big ribs.
Yeah.
So what's the best place to get ribs in SWAC country?
Woo, now you put me on the spot. They've got.
You're a connoisseur. That's why I asked.
That's true. I mean, Dreamland Barbecue. I think in Alabama you don't go wrong. But I think I've been to some places in Arkansas that were very good there. And then I mean the Texas schools, Texas Southern and Prairie View, around that Houston area. They do it up down there too. You've got specialty markets. You got specialties. You go to Louisiana, you're not looking for barbecue. You're looking for gumbo and the Cajun stuff. You go to Alabama, you get the barbecue. You come down here to Jackson, Mississippi, what are you going to get in these?
Soul food.
Soul food. There you go. There you go.
About a minute left in this game, 51-13. Jackson State on top of Texas Southern. That's why the conversation shifted to food. Score sometimes dictates that. What's the statement that Jackson State made tonight?
They stumbled against a very good team last week at home. Had they not had those 7 turnovers, 6 interceptions, they'd probably be in great shape to compete for that Black College National Championship if they want to. The rest of the schedule, they've got some games in there that they think are very winnable, and this is a very good football team.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty, remain 4th down.
And if I can put a footnote on it.
Sure.
You get distracted focusing on the offense, and this defense will really bring it to you play after play all night long.
Putting up 51 on Texas Southern, that's no joke. I mean, Texas Southern the last few years has had one of the best defenses, not just in the SWAC, but in the country. And a lot of the scores you really can't pin on Texas Southern's defense. I mean, how many drives did Jackson State start inside the opponent's 15-yard line, inside the 20-yard line, a couple of them inside the 10-yard line? Salita gets the punt off. Joe Anderson can't hold on to it. And Jackson State has it again. Another special teams error for Texas Southern.
You see Anderson here bobbles it there. Doesn't field it cleanly. And another miscue on special teams by Texas Southern University.
So Jackson State likely just takes the knee here, up 51-13. Okay, Texas. Should we be worried about how competitive they can be the rest of the way? We know Jackson State's a good team, but this is clearly not the same defense it was a year ago. They have a question to answer at the quarterback position. Do we temper our expectations for this team in terms of how competitive they could be in the SWAC? Remember, they won the SWAC last year.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Alabama State right now seems to be the cream of the crop in the SWAC conference. They beat this Jackson State squad, but Jackson State clearly played a poor game that day. I think the rest of the conference has got to be worried.
How about that? Tim Rush. And it is 57-13, 15-yard touchdown run. I know, you're shaking your head a little bit.
That's when you say you take the knee. You've got the victory intact. Take the knee there. Well, what do you say?
It's the second unit that is in the game.
That's why you take the knee. If you put a football player out there and you call a play, you expect them to play. So that's why I think, as a coach, you go ahead, you take the knee, you sit down on it.
Smith on for the point after. 58-13. Texas Southern came into this game with the #1 defense in the FCS. They've given up 58.
We are visitors.
Duke takes on Florida International. That is Saturday on the U. In the game you're watching, Jackson State making a bold statement, up 58-13 on Texas Southern. 14 seconds to play. Casey Terrio, much talked about, much ballyhooed quarterback for Jackson State. 300 yards, threw for 3 TDs, ran for another. And really, it was the second quarter when Jackson State scored 37 points, aided by many a special teams miscue on the side of Texas Southern, and it looked like somebody just dumped the Gatorade bucket on the Jackson State sideline. Did you catch that?
Yeah, that was on the offensive coordinator, I believe, Ernest Wilson.
After the play, personal foul, 52 of the kicking team. 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
So Jackson State, with the win, will improve to 4-1, 2-1 in the SWAC. Texas Southern will fall to 2-2 and 1-2 in the SWAC. Texas Southern lost its season opener to Prairie View A&M in a conference game. 58-13, not what many of us expected, especially considering Texas Southern came in with the best defense in the FCS. And Jackson State, they've been efficient.
Whoa.
6 scoring drives of 3 plays or less.
You see that? He got the double dose. The offensive coordinator, Ernest Wilson, scored 58 points. They hit you with 2 buckets.
2 buckets. 58-13, Jackson State, impressive. They win at home against Texas Southern. Jay Walker and I will be back to wrap things up from Mississippi, but for now, we send it back to Dari Noka for a SportsCenter U update. Thank you, Dari. Jackson State's band is known as the Sonic Boom of the South. They lowered the boom on Texas Southern tonight, 58-13, your final score. Time now for tonight's Lexus HBCU post-game report. Really, the second quarter was the key in this game, where Jackson State scored 37 points. Led in part by their quarterback, Casey Terrio, preseason SWAC Player of the Year. He's down on the field, and he joins us now. Casey, by winning this game the way you did, what sort of statement did you and your program make?
You know, I think it was a big game to come out, especially what happened last year and then what happened last week to us. So it was good. Special teams came up big for us. Offense played sound. Offensive line played good, and we slowed down the blitz a little bit this week.
58, though, against the Texas Southern defense?
Yeah, they came in with the #1 scoring defense in the SWAC. So, you know, I was obviously a big game for us and a big confidence booster to score 58 on them.
Casey, talk about this last week. Obviously, you didn't have your best day at the office last week when you threw for 400 yards, but you had the interceptions. This week, what was the week like of preparation for you, and what did you learn about yourself and your teammates?
Just, you know, going over more communication and recognizing coverages as me as a quarterback and trying to get my receivers on the same page. And, you know, the offensive line's played good, so I really just want to change some things up front and to pick up the blitz a little bit more. So we did that, and you know, I got some time to step up in the pocket.
It seems like tonight you found a new special target. Your tight end, Renty Rollins, had a good game for you. He became your go-to guy tonight. Yeah, I mean, he's always been a playmaker for us. Last year he was, you know, obviously a huge player for us. So, you know, he had his shots, and he obviously came through. And, you know, he had a couple big ones there that he usually comes down with. So I'm sure he's not happy about those ones.
Casey, tonight during the broadcast, we talked about your journey and your path to Jackson, Mississippi. People who watch, they got to see you as a football player. What do you want to tell them about Casey Terrio, the person?
I mean, I'm always going to do the right thing, you know, on and off the field. I'm going to try to stay me and, you know, hold my character down. And, you know, I mean, no matter if there's 100 people watching or no one watching, I just want to, you know, make sure everybody recognizes I'm a good spirit, and I'm always going to do the right thing. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. Casey Terrio, Jackson State's quarterback, leading his team to a 58-13 win. Congratulations on the win, Casey. All right. And that does it for our HBCU post-game report. Once again, your final score, 58-13. Jackson State with an impressive statement. For Jay Walker and the rest of our ESPN crew, I'm Anish Shroff. The following has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Let's go back in the studio now and Dari Noka.
This